bounce it in. Way! What's the crack, YouTubers? Hopefully this is working properly. Hopefully if I stop doing that, you might actually see her face properly. Yeah. No, still making a mess of it. Of course I am. Of course. More technical difficulties. Of course. Couldn't just get it right the first time round. Hold on. Now they should be able to see her mug properly. There we go. Now it looks reasonable. Happy days.
Right, champion. Good for them. Good for them. That's
right.
me. What a lovely way to spend Valentine's Day night.
This is it, mate. This is it. You know what I mean? All the lonely souls out there with us, you know. As you do. Whatever sort of me misses out, she's gotten her present. You know what I mean? She's
yeah, all done and dusted.
She was well chuffed. What's the crack? If you're this first time around to a hobby hangout, I'm your host, Scarn here, and on this episode we have the Drunken Ork, also known as Sydney.
All right.
What's the crack? And yeah, we're gonna be working on a few bits, doing a bit of hobby, and then you can do a bit of hobby along with us. And we'll just have a bit of banter and a laugh, and we'll see how it goes. You know yourself. So yeah, introduce yourself, Sydney. You've got a channel going. Like, what's your shtick? What do you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's relatively new. I think I started it in August, but it's kind of like it's taking its time, crawling along at a bit of a snail's pace because you know, life goes on and what have you. But yeah, it's 40k. It's mostly orcs, to be fair. The name gives it away. And mostly at the minute I'm doing showcases of my own stuff, which I've had for about 12 months. I'm still quite new back into the hobby, to be fair. And I've done a few unboxings, reviews, like third-party stuff. So yeah, just I'm still finding my feet a little bit. I expect to just slip into a niche at some point, and then take it from there.
Chip away at it. So you were saying you're only back into it like 12 months back into the hobby, are you? So what's your story with it then? Were you back in it when you were a lad, and then you left for a while and came back, or?
Yeah. No, it was. It started off for me. I was just thinking about this morning. Actually, there was a lad at school who I knew from school and whatever, but I'd never been to his house, and I was about 12 at the time, so it was a long time ago. And I was going round to his to play Elite on his. I think it was his Commodore 64.
Right.
Yeah. Like it was a. I don't know if you've ever heard of Elite, but it was basically one of these space games that never ends, where it's all isometric 3D shapes and you fly around farming and stuff. Anyway, as soon as I got there, I realised he had this big fort set up and just dozens and dozens of lead minis all over it. And I had my first game of it was just us winging it. Everything was 4+. And if the mini had a spear, you could throw the spear, right, 4+ to hit. 4+ it gets past the battlements. 4+ it hurts him. 4+ it kills. It was just that, and I loved it. I loved it, and I got into it from there basically until I was about 22, 23, maybe 24, and then again life gets in the way.
Yeah, as it does. Yeah.
So put on hold for 20 years. Mm-hmm. Sold everything in the car boot sale. Virtually everything in the car boot sale.
For pennies, probably, was it? For the tenner.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it was a fishing tackle box just full of this was mostly my bits box, but it was all lead, very little plastic, and tenner. Some of the painted ones at the time, my mum, my actual mother, and I was about 26 at the time. My mum wouldn't let us sell.
Oh, would she not? Oh, all right.
Nah, the hours you put in, the ones that are painted, the hours you put in painting them, you're keeping them. So they sat in a loft for 20 years. I've just actually got some vintage 1990s toilet paper where each one was wrapped up in a shoebox. I tell you what, mind, lockdown, fantastic time to find toilet paper. You know what I mean?
Every little helps, mate. Every little helps, even the vintage stuff. You know what I mean?
Single squares. I'm a big lad, single squares aren't doing much. But yeah, it was a good find.
Oh, that's gas. But do you know what I mean? At least it was good that your mother had the foresight, to say to you.
Oh yeah, totally.
Not to sell the painted ones.
But I was just must have been last January. Well, 2020. I was walking through the Metro Centre, shopping centre up in Gateshead.
Oh, I've
with
been
the
there,
missus and the Ben.
Yeah.
And as we walked past, Warhammer, as it was called, not even Games Workshop anymore. And I always used to stick my head in as I went past, just see how they're getting on. And the Ben, My little one was 8, and he was like, "Daddy, what's that?" I'm like, "Oh, let's have a look, son." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But it looked so good. And, the lad came over and he starts, bit sales pattern and that. And have you ever thought about it? I mentioned, I used to collect them when I was younger, but not so much now. You ever thought about getting back into it? And I was like, to be honest, I've thought about buying something to paint and that. And the missus goes, "Why don't you?" And I was like, "Permission?" I tell you what, right? She fucking rues that day.
Oh, I'm saying so, mate. It's like that Pandora's box being opened, and it was like, well, you asked me, love. You know what I mean?
This is it. Are you sure, pet? Yes, you get set of paints, couple of freebies, like the little boxes of marine.
Yeah, the marine they give you. Yeah.
The sample, the free sample to get you hooked. Couple of those, and a magazine with. It wasn't. It was like a start collecting 40k magazine or something like that. And I took them home, and I sent one of my mates a picture of me little haul, and like, you never guess where I've just been. And he sent a picture back within 10 minutes of like Dark Imperium, No Fear, Kill Team, and he goes, "Mate, they got me for 250 quid a fortnight ago." I was like, we'd both been out of it for like 20 years, and we both got back in the same month.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Within 2 weeks of each other as well. Like, it's
yeah.
But
he's just went and bought the Mars Pattern Titan from Forge World.
The big boy.
Well, the big and not even China.
Wow. He's gone.
not that I condone that, but
he's gone. He's gone way down the rabbit hole there. He's gone
he's absolutely disappeared. Yeah, absolutely disappeared.
He's gone on the missing list. Does his missus know, or was it like labeled as something else in the postage?
I think he told us he mentioned it a couple of times. He mentioned it. You seen this, and then he sort of he just kept sort of dropping little hints. And then one night he said he was sitting there and he went, "Do you know, I've been thinking about that Titan and the money." And she just went, "Well, if you want it, get it." And he was like, "Oh, play it cool." And he said 2 days later, he was like, "I'm ordering it."
You've been putting the work in, good man. You know what I mean?
It's a good job though, because she was there when it got delivered, and she opened it, and like the sales, delivery receipts in there and everything.
They give you the invoice.
Like,
how much?
He's like, "No, I've told her."
It's all right. I cleared it with the missus. We're all good. That's hilarious, man. I love it. So, like, having been out of it for so long, like the game's changed massively, I think, in the past. 5-6 years. So, let alone like when you went out and then came back, it must be like totally different.
It was all basically. I mean, I started on Fantasy Battle, 3rd edition, where it was just like the rule book, and that had all your army lists in. It had all your rules in. It was all you needed. There wasn't any, FAQs coming out, or they weren't amending it. It was just that was your book. But it was complicated. There was rules for units that wheeled when you turned, and different formations and all sorts.
Yeah.
But when 40k came out with Rogue Trader, the profiles, you're still recognisable to what they are now. But it was all. I think I've heard Dim mention this. Like the weapon skill was 3, which meant you hit on a 4. If your ballistic skill was 4, you hit on a 3. So I can understand why they changed it. But I think it was to do with if your weapon skill was compared to it was based on somebody else's.
The chart, you'd have a comparison chart and then cross-reference it.
Like if you were up against a more skilled opponent, it'd be harder to hit them, that sort of stuff. But it was all when I played it, we were just winging it. To be fair, it was more for the models, and we did a lot of sort of role plays back then as well. Never Dungeons and Dragons though.
No, I didn't get.
Never touched D&D.
Yeah,
it was always the Warhammer ones. We've done those.
Yeah. I got into D&D when I was about 17. Like I got into a campaign with it when I was about 17 until I was about 19. But I haven't really gone back to it then because I think you need to sort of have weekly commitments. It's like you'd need to have the same day off every week, and nearly every job I've worked has been like shift patterns, so it always like you'll be working 1 week but not the next, so maybe something every 2 weeks. When life goes back to normalcy, I can understand, but There's quite a lot of people are gaming online. Are you doing much of that yourself?
Not really. To be honest with you, for years I have. Whether it's been like, just usual, your FIFAs and your Call of Duties and all that sort of stuff. I was always a console gamer as opposed to a PC gamer. Just for budget, I suppose, more than anything else. But since I got back into this, I've hung my console up. Well, not literally. That'd be stupid. But I've, it's still sat behind us. But I think I've had it on 3 times in the last 12 months. And that's been to have a little sort of, a couple of hours with a band playing Minecraft. Because you like setting up little worlds and that, but go on survival, the usual stuff.
I have to say to you, I've had the funniest conversation I've ever had with one of my cousins about 2 weeks ago. Because, we're in Ireland here, we're in lockdown ourselves. He's out of work or whatever else. And, yeah, he started playing Minecraft. You know what I mean? And he was having a conversation with me, asking me about, setting things up. And, he put a bed down in the nether and it blew up. And he was like, what happened there? You know what I mean? I just thought it was funny. It was someone I'd never thought I'd have a conversation about, of all things, Minecraft. Yeah. So I think the time we're in now, people are starting to get into stuff that maybe they've been taught about, or they've the spare time now, so they can get some miniatures painted if they want, or get into it yourself. I'm sure there's plenty of people like myself saying, oh yeah, I'm off now, you know what I mean, we'll be able to get some miniatures painted, and then no, it just doesn't happen. I've gotten myself distracted with something else, with mucking around with a 3D printer now. It's like another rabbit hole.
This is it with wanting to paint stuff, and at the same time wanting to do try and get some little YouTube channel going on. It's just because I find it fun to do, and the community's fantastic, and I love being part of that. And then I just got myself a 3D printer as well, so that's another massive section of time I haven't got. And then with with work and trying to see the family, it's at least for a half an hour a day or so. I think it's only polite. There's not much time spare really. And then I've just downloaded that Tabletop Simulator as well. I thought I might give that a crack, because that looks like you can do a 15-minute game, doesn't it? Looks nice and quick, sort of.
And the rest. Yeah.
People going on having a battle, and I'm going to bed at 1. Next day, I was up till 4 playing that. You know what I mean?
It is the community is pretty good, like that we've got going on the 40K community. If you're watching and you haven't checked it out, I'm sure one of the lads will sort it out and throw a link in there somewhere. We'll see who's knocking around in the chat, who's showing up. We got D-Sun is here, Rivets and Daka. Brack is showing up. What's the crack, Brack? The Gitman's here. What's the story, Gitman? Orc stuff's here as well. A lot of the regulars. Marcus is showing up. What's the story, Marcus? How he's all keeping. But yeah, the community that we've got going for the Orcs, I think it's really encouraging, because I find I dip in and out, especially around the December, January. I sort of dip in and out of my hobby a bit. It's always been that way for me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like the January blues or something. You just don't seem motivated to get things done. You know what I mean? I've always sort of gone through that. But it's like everything else, life can get in the way sometimes, but it's
well, it can.
It's encouraging.
Yeah. But it's a cracking group, like cracking bunch.
Well, this is it. They encourage you. You see some people doing really creative stuff, and you'll see like conversions and scratch builds, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I never thought of that. And then it sort of inspires you when you see something decent or a conversion. I think that's one of the best things about like being into orcs and the orc community, is seeing other people's creations, their creativity.
Yeah.
Like that's really, I think that's like a good keystone of, even if you're not able to do it yourself. Like I'm not really that good at it, but I really love seeing people's conversions when they're, some of the lads are building like Blood Bowl stadiums, and people are
amazing,
building stuff out of plastic card, and there's so much going on. Like there really is. It's cracking.
Yeah, there is, and it's like one of those things that whenever you do your own, you can be finished with it and go, yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. But when you see other people's, It's some of it's absolutely amazing. I mean, the Blood Bowl stadiums, like I'm saying, knocked up at the minute, and music stages and full stadiums and that. I mean, it takes us back to when I was a kid and used to play Subbuteo, and I was the kid with the wrinkled pitch, you know, that couldn't even get it ironed, and at knee corner flags, my mother had stunned them all. And like, you know, flicking it around, and my mate had a board with the pitch tacked down, and he had stands and floodlights and scoreboards, and that was amazing to me. So to play in something like that, yeah, I think it'd be pretty good.
I'd say it'd be sweet, all right. I mean,
I want to get a team painted up to have some away games.
That'd be good crack, all right. It's another one of those. It's on the to-do list, you know, along with the 1,500 points of orcs I'm supposed to be painting, and the Blood Bowl team I'm supposed to do, and I'm sure there's a kill team on the list somewhere. And I'm here distracting myself printing off buildings for BattleTech. Like, I've only just pulled them off the printer there. I've only just printed off some more buildings. But I like 3D printers in that you can sit there and you can
pretty sweet then.
You can automate your hobby. So it's like, you know, you can be painting buildings and it's making more for you that that I designed myself. So I don't feel too guilty about it. You know what I mean? Some people might see it as cheating or whatever, but I'm like, you know, I came up with the design myself. You know, I can get away with it.
That's it. I mean, I'm not designing anything myself. I wouldn't mind having a shot. You never know. Some it might be half decent, but then again, it might not. But I'll give it a go.
Give it a bash. Yeah,
but for now, I'm printing off other people's stuff. Got some stuff from Gear Guts Workshop.
Well, this is what I'm doing now. Is I'm painting one of Gear Guts' miniatures. His Gear Guts boss that he printed off. So this is a resin print. So I don't have a resin printer, but he sent this over. So I'm just picking out some of the metal details. I've done it up in the primer rust, in the AK Interactive primer rust. I've given it a couple of base coats. I stippled it so that it's not just uniform, and I'm just picking out the metals. And I'm wondering, I want to paint them badmillions, but I might try and just stipple on the yellow, or I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm just, you know what I mean, having a bit of fun with it. I don't feel as restricted.
I've done the stippling before. I didn't find it much quicker, but I suppose that comes with practice. You know, I'll probably take my time with it. Yeah, it's quite good. I've done quite a few vehicles like that. In fact, that's what I'm doing now. I'm dry brushing them all silver to get like a base coat on, then I'll try and rust them up a bit, and then I'll go over them with my colours.
Well, this is it. There's no one way to do things. There's quite a few different techniques that are done.
True.
Like I've come across people who've done the same as you, Sid, where they've done that base metal layer, and then they'll stipple rust, and then the last thing they'll do is the paint. But you can do it the other way as well if you want paint first and then do your metals.
Well, I've done that. Oh yeah, I've done that as well. I was planes and that.
A few bits and pieces.
I bought an airbrush for that sort of stuff.
I've an airbrush myself, but I don't know what it is. I just don't have it set up at all. How do you find using the airbrush?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had it for about 4 months before I even set it up. I was just daunted by it. Thought this is going to be horrific, and I did use it, and it was all right. I think I was more. Do you know what it is? Because of like the whole lockdown thing, I didn't want to be breathing in loads of paint and everything. Whilst that's an issue. People catching that, so I thought, right, I'll be a little bit careful with it. Eventually used it, champion, spent about an hour cleaning it afterwards, went to use it 2 weeks later, and I had to spend another 2 hours cleaning it because the hour I spent previously wasn't good enough. It's not a good one, don't get us wrong. It's not like big compressor and all this. It's a little all-in-one box. It's just it was I think 30 quid from Amazon.
Oh, all right.
I have to figure out if it's any good, and I like it, I'll invest in a better one. But for now, that'll do.
I can understand that train of thought.
I'm just base coat, and that's all I've used it for.
Yeah, I'll definitely even if it's only for base coating, especially like people who live in areas where during the winter, good luck to getting a spray can working. You know what I mean? Depending on, or the weather is terrible. You can at least get that going for it, and it can be cracking. But No, I haven't touched mine in a long time. You know what I mean? I even bought like a little boot for it and all this type of stuff. I don't know what it is. I just find it easier. It's less effort for me to just pick up a paintbrush, have the paints in front of me, and just, get cracking. Whereas they're sort of like set up and clean. And not that I'm knocking airbrushing. Airbrushing, like, I reckon I'd probably love airbrushing more than painting miniatures, especially if you're doing a big army. That's what I think it would really come into its own. It's if you're doing a lot of painting, because painting 30 boys by hand, boy Jesus, it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I haven't done that yet. I've got a 21.
Bite-sized chunks,
Got
mate.
And then, well, since I've just been basically buying and building and painting what I like. Do you know what I mean? Just, what I think, rule of cool sort of thing. And because of that, I put it all in Battlescribe just to get an idea of the points value. Just, what you see is what you get sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was about 4,500 points there over the last 12 months, like fully painted and ready to go.
Jesus, fair play.
But only 21 troops. 21 boys. So I couldn't even field 3 units of troops. Negrots. Gretchen, just 21 boys. Unit of tank busters, unit of knobs. They're over there, so I'm looking. Unit of mega knobs. And then it's just battle wagons, dreads, killer cans.
They're good stuff.
Yeah. Looted wagons.
You did some kick-ass dreads, didn't you?
Well, I've got 5 dreads, but the last 2 were a bit more converted. And I was trying to get the pose. Well, one of them was trying to get the pose a little bit more dynamic, and one of them I decided to stick on a bike.
That was that was class. I was fond of that myself. And then what was it, Jackie Can or something? You named the other one.
Jackie Can, the
flying kick. I thought that was
doing the
class
flying kick. Yeah. The hardest bit for that was the Marine, because I don't really have any spares. My bits box is basically heads and arms, and that, and that's it. So when I'm putting together that, I think I used about 4 different Marines for that Marine. It was like the arms were off tactical Marines, the legs were off the the Gravis Captain.
I know
from the Dark Empire box.
Yeah.
There were his legs, so an aggressor torso, and I think helmet. I had to just mould these back out of green stuff.
Because you didn't have a back.
And cursor shoulder pads, and all the Gravis Captain's backpack as well. So it was a bit of a hodgepodge mess, but he was only getting kicked out, so.
He's there to be kicked around, so it's not the end of the world.
This is it. I had to get the pin to run all the way through him to connect up the dread's leg.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, you'd have to pin the absolute nuts out of him so it didn't just fall apart when someone breathed on it.
I think the Marine had 2 pins in him. Him to base and him to dread, and then the dread had 1 from the leg to the body. It was like 2 or 3 separate pins. But it's a lot more sturdy than it looks. There's no sort of wobble in it, or because people online on Reddit are going, "Oh, he's how's it stand up? Oh, he's used weights." I mean, hasn't he weights? It's just physics.
Grim determination and elbow grease.
Ork E54, FIZZIX or something like that. It's
sheer will and determination. Yeah. That's what's got like standing up.
It shall not fall.
But yeah, the dread on the Primaris bike, I thought was hilarious. I thought it was brilliant, man.
Yeah. Oh, cheers.
Really good. Yeah,
there was so much. I love a pun. Right? And that's proper dad humour. I'm a dad, so that's all right. I'm allowed.
Yeah.
And fuck me. They just came thick and fast with that one. You know what I mean? Death Dread. Judge Death Dread. I am the claw. War Master. All that sort of shit.
Yeah. All the good stuff.
Yeah. But it was just originally I just wanted a Death Dread on a bike. I like the idea of his knees being up by his chin. Just like on a little 25
like on a mini moto, like he's on a mini moto, one of those type of things. Yeah, definitely. That's what I thought when I saw it. When you had the knees the way you were saying. That was the first thing that came
Yeah.
to mind. Was like someone on one of those mini moto sort of bikes. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, it looks class, man. I thought it was really good.
I don't know why I ended up going to Judge Dredd. Had to make his helmet out of a Kinder egg.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You know, the other capsule had to sort of like get that, cut that into shape to fit over the helmet, the hull, whatever you call it, and then I just used modelling putty to get the shape of the helmet. Just piped it on and then trimmed it away. Yeah, it works alright.
Good crack. So do you plan on like setting up an army to play games, or are you just enjoying it? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm enjoying it for now. I do want to play games. I do. But the only people I know in the immediate area is that lad who started up at the same time, and there was another lad who we used to play with, who has started up. Well, I mean, to be fair, it was probably a month after us, if that. But they're both Marine players. One's Ultramarines, the other one's Space Wolves, and the lad who's Ultramarines has also got Knights, and he's got a Titan now.
Oh, Jesus.
So I just feel like I'm on a hiding it out.
Good
You know
luck,
what I
mate.
mean?
Yeah, good luck with that one. Yeah.
I've got me 21 boys. You know what I mean?
This is it.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, I love a bargain. So when I see these boxes, which I feel like, like the box sets like Indomitus and Dark Imperium for one, I see them and think, well, that's a good way to get some minis in. Because the idea was me and me little one playing, me and my son.
Yeah.
But he's not quite at the age where he doesn't get everything. We've had a game of Blood Bowl. That was interesting. That was good. That was a laugh.
Well, what age is he?
He's 9.
Well, yeah, okay. It's about the age.
But he's I think just after playing Blood Bowl, we had one game, and it was like after he'd scored a touchdown, or I'd scored a touchdown. After he'd scored one of his touchdowns and I scored my only one. He'd go, "Well, this has been a lot of fun, Daddy. I think I'm going to go play Fortnite for a little bit." I'd be like,
"Hold on, the game's
Harry,
not
I'll
on
just
me."
take another photo of the boards so I know where everything goes. We'll crack on tomorrow.
Yeah. Quit while you're ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, he loves his Fortnite and what have you, which kids.
You can't blame him, yeah.
But I figured that if the plan was in a couple of years when I think you'll be, just old enough to appreciate it more. Do you know what I mean? If I had a couple of armies
ready to rock and roll, yeah.
And I figured I'd have Marines, Orcs, obviously Necrons and Death Guard just for the box sets. Then it'll be set. I mean, the Necrons and Death Guard are still on sprues. But I've painted up a couple of 1,000 points worth of Marines as well.
What faction did you go with, or chapter? Sorry.
I went with Salamanders.
Oh,
now,
right.
I figure they're and this was before. I know they got a bit of meta, but I was already on them.
All right.
And only
that's your excuse, and you're sticking to it, is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm sticking to it. I've supported Liverpool since the 80s. Right, fair enough.
No, all right, mate. All right, yeah, sure.
No, I went with them for two reasons. One, I liked Imperial. I like the look of Imperial Fist, but I couldn't do yellow, so they went out the window. And Salamanders are the ones that I think a Drunken Ork would probably confuse for another Ork and chance his hand with, on a night out, something like that.
Yeah, all right, mate. You're green. You're good.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, would you not be sick of green? Like, yeah. Would you not be? I would have thought you would have gone for a totally different color if you were like.
Do you know what? I've thought of that, but when my mates are going, "Oh, yeah, you're all right. You're good with green," and I'm like, "It's a totally different green, and it is totally different." Yeah. I don't use any of my Orc flesh paints on my Salamander sort of paints. It's two different schools, but yeah, I know. I would have went for yellow if I could have got it right, but it was a non-starter. I ended up more like brown or.
Oh, what did you go from, like a black base or?
No, I was going from a light base. I think it was like a Wraithbone or just an off-white, and then I was I mean, to be honest with you, I only tried it like one squad, but I was going with like purple first for the highlights underneath, and then lifting it up more, and I mucked around with it to try like more and more purple underneath to get it darker and darker. I didn't want them bright yellow, and they just ended up I wasn't that pleased with them. I wasn't that pleased with
You
them.
threw in the towel. Well, look, at least you tried me. You know what I mean?
But I think the Sallies look quite nice. I mean, I like green. You know what I mean? It's I've always liked green.
Biased in that regard. I can understand. I can. I'm still partial to greys, light greys, and light
Mm-hmm.
greyish blues from me Space Wolf days. You know what I mean? I do like that color.
Yeah.
Might show it on some uniforms and stuff, but I'm like that myself. I like the greys. I haven't decided what chapter to do with the poor beggar who's getting crushed in this hand yet. I'll figure that out at the end. But I've always thought Crimson Fists would be an interesting chapter if to collect
Well,
against orcs.
they've got the history with the orcs now, haven't they?
Yeah, a few of them do, like Black Templars, and I think Salamanders have fought them a few times. Yeah, I mean, there's a few of the Space Marine chapters who are infamous for fighting orcs.
Well, the Crimson Fists were on the box art of the. Well, actually, was it the? I can't remember if it was on Rogue. Was it Rogue Trader on the front of, or was it? No, it was the box. You used to get 30 Space Marines for about £10. The little Mark 6 armor.
What Rogue Trader, and he has his fist up or whatever, and
it was a fist in the.
It's beside me, but
the orc head.
It's in a box beside me under a load of crap. But we'll dig that out another day. You know yourself. But yeah, I know the one you're on about. Yeah, that was supposed to be. I think that's supposed to be the battle for Rin's world, where they attack. This is the I like that story, where the Crimson Fists they lose their fortress monastery because one of the missiles they fire at the orcs sort of goes haywire, misses, and comes back and hits their ammo dump and blows the whole thing. It's like what I'm sure the orcs laughed.
Yeah, orc shooting, man, is contagious.
It is contagious. It's hilarious. But yeah, what do you reckon about the war bosses? I just dropped my brush. The war bosses playing. Have you had a look at our armies that they're different?
I've had a look. I'll be honest with you, because like I said, I've not rolled a dice. In a proper game. I've had a couple of little. Right, I'm going to take Glasgow and fight Robuti Gilliman here, and I've rolled sitting here on me Todd in the night rolling my dice with on my own. But I've not had a proper game for decades, last millennia, but or millennium. But I've looked at them, and from what I've got to admit, I like the look of their dims.
Oh, the grots.
Yeah. You see, I couldn't run a force of grots, but in what I'm trying to do is going to be a force of Death Skulls with the detachment of grots, which will be mech guns, killer cans, all your sort of heavy support, grot tanks, and he's got all that, and I think they've just got the accuracy and the actual the firepower they've got could do some damage, but I also think that yours would tie his up completely.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he'd be much cop against yourself, but then again, it's like rock paper scissors.
We're all.
I think everybody's
is a bit different. Yeah, we've all gone different paths.
But somebody else's.
My favorite one is Dames, but just because it's crammed full of grots. Like I don't even care about meta-wise builds. You know what I mean? I just find it hilarious whenever I see. I always like grot armies, like rebel grots and all that type of stuff, and the grot tanks. I've always liked the look of that type of stuff. It's always been mint looking, so I'm looking forward to seeing them, and it'll be good crack, actually getting them done.
Yeah, I mean, at first, I've got to be honest. At first, I thought you were going to do like a four-way.
A four-way battle. We haven't quite decided. I think the way the lads want to run it is we'll all play each other once. You know what I mean? I think we'll do something like that.
That is the most sensible way to do it, to be fair. Like,
and then maybe we'll have a big battle at the end where it's like 2-on-2 or a free for all, or we haven't decided what way we want to do things. I think we're more on the get stuff finished stage, but it'll happen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it'll be good crack, and we'll go from there. And what about yourself, gaming? Go on. Yeah, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say I was talking to some of my mates on Friday night. We'll have like a virtual pub sort of, just trying to keep a little bit of socialising going. Just a few were just sitting on a webcam, and we're reminiscing, as you often do. And we've done a fantasy battle when we were at school, when we were about 14, and it was for comic relief, and it was a 24-hour battle. And we were playing on the table was stupid size. It was like apocalypse-sized table. But it took about 14 hours into the game before any troops actually met because we stupidly started and we played lengthwise, and it was just all marching towards each other with the occasional spell or hero on a dragon swooping down. But that was tedious, and that was like a big sort of four-way game. So yeah, I think one-on-one's probably best. I'm sure it's easier to do it these days, but
yeah, look,
back then it was terrible.
We've played in mega battles. Me and Dim used to go to big orc apocalypse games that we'd organise in Warhammer World. And it was literally like you'd have 8-12 orc players around the table, just one side, the other, and then, go for it. We do silly objectives like, I was the blood axe on one side, and it's like, all right, well, if you spend enough command points, you can bribe me to turn on the other guys. But it's like, I'll roll 6 dice in secret, and you have to bid those points. And if you don't beat it, you'll lose whatever you bid. You know what I mean? And then I get to use them. We do silly things like that. You know what I mean? We didn't really care about winning. It was more sort of just enjoying the game, having a laugh.
Yeah, it's just about having a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And when you're not worried about like pure meta builds, but there's a time and a place for that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with tournament play. It's just personally not what I'm super into. But you'll see things that you wouldn't normally see, and people would have fun with it. So you'd have like lads who've built like Skullhammer battle fortresses that are based off of like second ed. So they got like they built these back in the day. So they got like the epic scale vehicles. I think I have some here. They get like the epic scale vehicles, and they literally scaled them up and built them out of plastic cards. So you get these old school looking sort of battle fortresses, kind of like these ones here. These little, I don't know if you can see that. And the little sort of they literally take that and scale it up. So it looked epic scale, but it was the proper like 28 mil or whatever. But so it was hilarious looking, and you'll see like people making their own custom stompies and super heavy crawlers, which would be like 3 or 4 bane blades mashed together, and just mad gargants.
Yeah.
The fun stuff, the good stuff.
This is it. Yeah, I'm not. Like I say, I can never see myself going to a tournament or anything like that. No matter how much I get back into it.
Oh, maybe you never know.
Never even that interested us. I just want to laugh, basically. Just want a bit carry on.
Let's have a bit of crack.
Play for fun.
This is it. There's always one mate in the group though. Oh yeah, we're all having a laugh. Oh yeah, no bother. And then the arms race starts, and then next thing you know, you're all like super competitive. That happens as well. I always find that hilarious. There's always the one mate. But we'll see. I'll see what's happening in the chat. Who's tormenting here? Weird Boy is here. What's the story? Essex Boys is chatting away. What's everyone working on? So Gitman says he's currently painting a spanner. The model looks cool, but painting it is hell. Which one? There's a few. Is it like the old metal one or one of the plastic ones now? Also, the name says the Drunken Ork, not the Drunken Ork. Or Druken. Oh, did I spell it wrong? I'll have to respell it. The Drunken Ork. The Drunken Ork. Oh, it is. Right, hold on. I can sort that out. That can be sorted out. Drunken.
Watch them all flooding when you change that.
Druken. There you go. Sorted. Happy days. Midstream. Like I said, if there wasn't any technical difficulties, people would be disappointed.
This is it.
Plastic one from the Looters and the Borners kit. Oh, very nice, very nice. What's everyone working on? What are you working on yourself, Sydney? What are you painting away at?
I am currently, like I say, adding some metal to your little grot tanks.
Nice.
I've got 5 on the go. Batch painting tanks, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they look sweet. And you printed them off yourself, did you?
No.
He's like, no.
I'd ordered a few of these from is it Upcycle? The one in the UK that goes for gear guts. I think it's up recycle to downcycle. That'll not be right. It's some sort of cycle anyway. Bicycle? I can't remember. But it was one of them. I'd ordered from them a while ago. And I've got about 5 or 6 things on the go today. You know, I keep starting new projects.
I'm not finishing old ones. Look, you're in good
Yeah.
company here, mate. I can't say anything in that regard. You know, I still
I'm
have a
trying to do
growth
it.
tank there from 2 years ago. It's like, yeah, I'll finish it.
Well, this is it. I was trying to do a video earlier on a work in progress. I'm making a battle fortress.
Ooh.
And again, this is. I don't even think you can use it in the game. The way I'm doing it anyway. You know the way I think it was the Looted Wagons one, where they basically just took a Bane blade and swapped out the heavy stubbers for big shooters and last cannons for zap guns and
So
flavor
Skullhammer.
torches.
Yeah, traditionally that would have been a Skullhammer battle fortress. Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, that's the one I was going for because it still had the profile for it on Wikipedia, and I haven't got it now, obviously, and I regret not screenshotting it.
I can sort you out. I have it in an old Apocalypse book. I can sort you out.
All right, I've managed to get a few screenshots of the copies from the White Dwarf. I think it was in, but they're not great. But it's I just keep adding to it, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I'm thinking, right, I need to just stop and prime it at some point.
Yeah, I'll not keep adding bits. Well, this is the thing, like, you know what I mean? When is any Orky creation ever truly finished, you know?
Well, is it ever?
This is it. They always just keep adding to them, chipping away at them.
But I wanted to make like a conning tower for the back, like a big pylon.
Yeah.
With a crow's nest on, with some arms and. In fact, there it is on the windowsill.
We're using the stomp.
It's getting there.
Oh no, you built it from. Oh yeah, that's proper. Like it reminds me of like warships. You know, the old school ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the rest of the wagons can, they would signal to the fleet.
The signals flags.
It's got the glyphs on. You'd probably not be able to see one here, but I've put the glyphs on, and they do and around the bottom, and they do say stuff. I can't remember what it says now. I need to get my dictionary back.
Your glyph translator.
Yeah, that's it. That one's Duff, the favourite enemy beakies. It's like the thumb doing and a big smile with blunt teeth and a beaky helmet and stuff like that. But there's a fellow on the back with a couple of shooters.
Yeah, the big shooters.
Lintel mounted ones. Yeah, so that clips on the back.
Nice.
And I've got the death roller there, which I started priming today. Double death roller.
That looks wicked, man.
See how I was holding it when I started it. That was just the one from Puppets War, like. But I had to build some arms for it to clip it to the chassis and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, or the hull, what the tanks have. Yeah, it's coming on.
Hull, chassis, whatever.
It's coming on.
I like how you've done the tower so that it's clip on. You're thinking ahead. You know what I mean? You're going to leave it that way for transport so you can actually move the miniature around.
Yeah, what I'll try and do is I'll put some not so much pins, more pegs into the hull bit, and then that should just, because it's just plastic tubes and what have you, it should just like slide on. If I can get them the right size, should be a nice fit. Then I can take them off if I need to move it. But
well, yeah, just for like moving it around for games, because I think it's one of the problems you'll have with really big miniatures is the rare occasion you do get to use it. You then have to transport it, and I've seen lads moving their Titans around in like IKEA boxes stuffed with towels and you know what I mean, these big massive ones. So it's good that you're at least thinking modular in that regard. That's pretty smart.
Yeah. Well, the arm, the death roller does clamp on, and it's sturdy, and it does just like it clips off again. So I might just leave that like that. I mean, it's only going to sit on my shelf, you know what I mean?
Look, you say that now, but
if it needs to go to a battle,
then
unclipping apart will be spot on. I mean, like if it is just sitting on a shelf, it doesn't have to be absolutely solid, does it?
No, that's true. But also, like, if you're bringing to a game, you're going to be setting it up. It's not like people are going to be swinging out of the thing either. You know what I mean?
Well, like I say, he's still
Hopefully.
9 at the minute.
Hopefully.
But as long as it can take a Nerf dart, I think I'm all right.
You'll be sorted. This is it. You'll be grand. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't sit in that shelf forever. We'll get some big games going eventually, but don't you worry. You'll get a
Yeah.
chance to shoot it in anger at someone.
I did have a little dice rolling competition with it against whatever the biggest night is. And you know, I mean, I know this means absolutely nothing, just me sitting rolling dice. But I was just curious, and it managed to take a knight out in one turn. But then again, the knight took that out in another turn in one turn. So I thought, like,
Whoever goes first, type of thing.
difference.
I think the rule set for the new Apocalypse, it's like you'll still get to shoot if you're destroyed, type of thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have it. I don't know. I haven't played it as much as I probably should. You know, but there's so many rules changes. You know what I mean? Getting the 40k, and then if you're playing a bigger game, then
Well,
a
this is
different
it.
rule set. It's like, how are you finding that? Or are you just sticking to
Well,
the hobby for now?
no, I've watched. Christ, I think I've watched every battle report I can find. To be fair, when I'm sitting painting or anything, I generally, if I'm not on, you know, if there's anybody on the Discord, I'll jump on there if there is. But if there's not, I'll sit in there, just chew through battle reports. I know I've watched all the ones from there's a Tabletop Titans
Mm-hmm.
and Tabletop Tactics, and quite a few Winter's SEOs. And if I find any with orcs in, I'll watch them regardless. You know, just anybody's.
Yeah.
So I'm getting, you know, the grasp of the rules. Most of them anyway. I think some things are still a bit of a mystery to us, like the new cover rules and what have you. As in if you're in the building or near it or
Draw a line of
partially
sight
covered.
through and all this type of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you can
It's
shoot
changed
it
a bit.
touching a wall and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I don't really know that off pat, but if we have a game, I'm sure it'll come.
Yeah, of course, definitely. You're up in the
Right,
north
I'm
of
just
the
going to
UK,
dry my
aren't you?
brush.
Yeah. Give it an old dry.
I got, you know, that thing Steve-O got for Christmas, the pot shaker. I think he
I
said
was
it
about to
was.
say the mystery shaker. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got one and all.
Was this under his influence, or were you just sort of thinking along the same
No,
thoughts?
no. This was a complete surprise. The wife and said she's got us something which I wouldn't expect.
I've got you a pot
So
shaker I can also use for me lane polish, love. There you go. Happy Christmas.
Well, this is a. I say it's not a pot shaker. That's a makeup brush cleaner. Right, that's what it is.
Right.
But if you, you know, when you've got like a brush used for dry brushing,
Mm-hmm.
like a big thick one like that, but it's a makeup brush. That's not means, yeah, words, yeah. I found when I used it, I couldn't use it for 24 hours because it was like going to be sopping wet, and you couldn't dry brush with it. You couldn't swap, you know, shades or
The
anything.
paints, yeah.
But honest to God, with this, it's where's my pot? Oh, there it is. I just pop it in there, and it's done. There we go. It's like QVC, this, isn't it? And
Yours
the brush
now
is dry.
for only 3 small payments of $4.99. So you wash the brush and then you spin it, does it? And it spins the water out of it.
I mean, to be honest, yeah, you're supposed to put some like soap and that, I suppose, in there, and then you just took your brush in, give it a swirl, and then when you lift it up out the water, it spins and the bristles go horizontal and that because centrifugals, you see, and yeah, bone dry.
Happy days.
I get straight back on.
Put that onto the shopping list there, lads. You know what I mean? I'm sure the missus will be all too happy if you bought one of them, you know? I've heard that with the hobby, like there's like people buy the cleaners. It's like they'll for jewelry. They use them for jewelry as well. Oh, I forget what they're called.
Is this like the seismic?
You know what I'm on about. I forgot the specific name.
The ones that shake it out.
Yeah, they do like microclimate. Apparently, that's originally for jewelry. So anytime you get one of them, the missus will be too happy with you as well because you can clean her or jewelry or chains and the rings and whatever in them.
Give a ring a good wash.
Well, every now and then. Every now and then. You're a bad influence, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I've seen people suggesting them for things like stripping minis now. Because I've stripped a few minis, and I live in that. I just think they made paint a little bit harder wearing back in back when I was first in this, because I've put some minis in like isopropanol, 99
yeah,
point.
ISO, yeah.
I left them in from August till November,
And they're still, but
mostly due to like a bit of a scatterbrain. But there we go, bait box full of minis, and they were all still absolutely fine. I hadn't given them a scrub or anything, like they were all metal as well. And they've mostly come off, but I've had to sit there with like cocktail sticks and that, picking little bits off.
Mate, yeah.
I bought heavy duty scrubbing brushes because I snapped a few toothbrushes, gone a bit too much. I mean, one was a wife's, but
I'm sure. Don't say nothing. Put it back, duct tape together. She won't notice.
Gaffer tape and put it back. It's fine. Never notice.
Essex was saying ultrasonic. Yes, Essex, you've hit the nail on the head. Ultrasonic cleaner, mate. I love how we both knew what we were talking about, but both forgot the name of the thing. So like that thing that goes and clean stuff. Yeah, all right, I know what you mean.
Seismic water shakers.
That's the one.
Yeah, something like that.
Something along that lines. Yeah, it's funny. Like even the little paint racks I have here for keeping me paint pots, I think they were originally sold as like nail varnish holders. Yeah. Nail varnish. Who needs that much nail varnish?
Look,
I've a whole drawer full of paint, so I can't say anything.
Well, yeah.
It's like how many paints do you need for one guy? It's like, well, that's for his base layer of his skin, that's the wash, that's a highlight, and that's the final highlight. So that's just the skin is 4. And then we'll go on to the trousers next. I need 3 different pots for that. You go to paint a unit and you might use like 20 odd paints on it, depending. Or maybe I'm going at it the wrong way. What do you reckon?
No, I think you're spot on. I think when I first, like I say, the first minis I bought last year was actually a tactical Space Marine set. I bought them and I painted them just as were in the box, like Smurfs. And I finished all 10 and I sat back and thought, well, that was fucking boring, that. They're all blue. I enjoyed it. I knew enough that I wanted to do more, but I knew I didn't want to paint any more Space Marines.
Wanted something
not just
different.
Space Marines anyway. So I went and bought. I thought I'd buy a box of Orc Boys because I'd always collected Orcs in 40k and Fantasy, back in the day. And I painted them, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. So yeah, if you're going to paint like 10 Marines, half a dozen paints. That's all you'll need. But if you're going to paint Orcs, you want a bit more. You want to try and break up that uniformity whilst keeping a theme.
At the same time.
You know what I mean? It's preaching to the choir, this, though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
True. But there's a couple of ways you can go about it, though. With the Orcs, you can use the skin itself as the uniform and colour across the army. Or you can vary it up a bit, because some people like to do varying skin tones, so you can do like the clan colours specifically as the unifying tone. But it's another one of those great things about Orcs is even if you get 2 people who have exactly the same miniatures and exactly the same list, they'll probably paint them totally different. Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of variability in it. The Pale Orc is saying blue, metal, gold, wash, dip, and done. Sorted. Well, this is it, mate. You don't. I was the sucker who decided. Do you know what would look great? Camouflage. Do you know what would look even better? If I do 2 different types of camouflage on the same miniature. Yeah, that'll look ace. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't envy that. Like,
I've learned it's like I keep it the base color until I get around to doing the camouflage. At least there's some paint on them. Then you know what I mean. I have a paint rack that I got for Christmas. It's made of wood. Well, look, as long as it works. I've seen people make decent ones out of cardboard, that foam board stuff, acrylic. You can make them out of anything, man. Make them out of cardboard if you want. 2-ply cardboard. Yeah. All those Amazon orders that people are getting, you know what I mean? Maybe, if you're living at home and they're all ordering stuff, just get yourself a hot glue gun.
Order a comb, you'll get a box like that. And you can just sort of knock one about with that. Honest to God, the amount of cardboard I've flattened the last 12 months, it's scary.
This is it. Go raid the old recycling bin and the neighbours while you're at it. You'll have all the cardboard you need.
This is true.
And And while you're at it, you can probably do some terrain. Build yourself a nice little orc fort.
See, that's something I haven't done yet. Terrain.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know where to put it. I mean, this room I'm in is it was my little man den. I just got it sort of set up, you know, a big telly in it, PlayStation. God knows how much Lego. It was all set, you know, it was all just set perfectly. And then I've had to just absolutely change things around. But we're working from in here and having to put up more of those IKEA, you know, the big tall glass IKEA cabinets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one full of minis and one full of Lego. And the Lego is looking like it needs to go soon, mind.
Well, this is the problem with Lego. It can be broken down and
Yeah.
stored, so the temptation's there. Like, I've a few Lego bits myself. I can see your walker and your falcon behind you, and is it a Kylo Ren shuttle? Like, yeah, I could see a few bits and pieces. Yeah, I have one of them myself. It's just in a box.
My shelf.
Yeah.
That's my shelf. It's got a little Ghostbusters car on the end and all. The Ben's got a shelf up there with all the Harry Potter stuff on and Ninjago. And then there's a coffee table behind us, which is covered in shite at the minute. Otherwise, I'd show you. And that's got me. I've got a big collector's series Millennium Falcon.
Oh yeah.
I bought the big one before. You see, and I've got Slave 1 up there from the collector's series, and a couple of Y-Wing and the Tantive 4 as well. So I bought those, and then got into Warhammer. Lego's like stretchers. You know, it's just like loosening up for spending fortunes on little bits of plastic. You know, there we go.
Yeah.
Warhammer wasn't quite as shocking as it could have been, to be fair. Because
some of those Ultimate Collector Series stuff is mint looking though. Like me and the missus were talking about buying that Millennium Falcon. Yeah. It's like, we could buy one, and she's like, yeah, we could build one. And then she's like, I'd want my own one. I'm like, we could buy two. I mean, you know, you're talking about spending like $1,000 in plastic. It's like, we could buy two.
It sounds great, but when I built it, must have been a couple of years ago now, it sat on the dining room table for 3 months because I had fucking nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at coffee tables, and also I was trying to find something it would fit in that I could put like a glass lid on top. I even contacted a company that made, you know, that glass that it's got like I think it's like an LCD or LED, no, it's LCD film in the middle, and you switch it and pass the current through it.
Yeah.
Opaque, see through. I was going to make a coffee table out of that. Yeah, we came back with $2.5 a quote, like, so that one didn't go any further. But then IKEA released a little metal coffee table, metal frame, glass panels. It was just too short, so I got 2 of them and bolted them together and took the middle panels out, and it fits it nicely. LED lights all around the outside and that. Yeah, it's kind of
nice, sweet.
But it took about 27 hours to build, and then once it was done, eventually I was taking it upstairs. You got to slide your arms under it like a forklift.
Yeah.
The only way to carry. Didn't just be grabbing it by the edges and picking it up, right? It was better. So you got to carry it like a forklift, and then you think, right, this is all right, until you get to a door, because it's about 33 inches long, and you're looking at a door. Oh shit! You've got to sort of like lift it up to your chest. You can feel bits like just snapping off
and breaking as you go.
I go through and I have to get upstairs and around corner.
It sounded like a sofa. Did you ever get the sofas where they don't quite fit in the door and you have to sort of angle it, jiggle it, and you lift your end, mate, and I'll drop down here, and you know what I mean? It's starting to sound a bit like that.
Yeah, I've been there. Except there's little bits of sofa on dropping off.
As you go, just follow the trail. Where did he go? Well, there's a satellite dish and there's a blast there. Keep following. There's a few more bricks, you know, like the breadcrumbs.
I mean, it was so many pieces, but I think from the last one they upped the piece count by about 50%. It went up by 2,500 pieces, and really all they've done is they've stuck loads of little gribblies on the outside, little just bits, you know, and all the little circuitry and that. But yeah, it's one of those things where I had a lot of fun building it. I think it's fantastic. I don't recommend it to many people because it was like 650 quid. You know what I mean? And I had to put some serious overtime in to afford that. You know, it wasn't like an impulse buy. It was like months and months of saving.
I think, that's it. I want one of these. I'm putting the coin away for it now, type of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I got some. a little dividend thing from work, 100 and odd quid. I won some money, won 150, 160 quid, and then I had to sort of put my case forward, like to the wife. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I intend on doing.
This is what I want to buy. I've been putting away the money now, love.
This is it. It won't impact you at all this month. It's all just spare. It's just that spare money you hear about. Yeah, but yeah, it was canny.
I'd say so, man. But yeah, this is the thing I'm laughing at now is all these different hobbies. They kind of compete with each other, especially for like display space.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm finding with time-wise, I'm finding that I'm like in January, I've spent a lot of time, building the 3D printer, setting it up, getting the files sorted, and I'm printing off the building so I can play BattleTech. That's the whole point, is to have a decent looking table for when we're able to play battle reports again. I wanna be able to get some BattleTech ones going. You know? And then obviously 40k stuff as well eventually. So I don't know the future. I might design my own train for 40k eventually. I'll see how it goes. But they all sort of, you're juggling time. If it's not like you want to build a Lego kit or you want to play a video game, like I'm playing MechWarrior 5 quite a lot. So it's like video games, painting, this, that, work, family. It's all a juggling act.
No, that.
And then finding the time for everything. What are you having for dinner? They're talking about steak and shrimp, lads. Don't be talking about steak and shrimp. I have me dinner in the fridge. I'm not too bad up, but steak and shrimp would be nice. And surf and turf wouldn't go amiss. Not go amiss. But yeah, you're up in the neck of the woods up near Dim, aren't you?
Yeah, just a little bit further north than Dim, aye. From the coast originally, well, I say the coast, not far from the coast, 2 mile. But I moved into still the northeast near Whitley Bay, if anyone's ever heard of that. And now I'm just literally in Newcastle, well, the west end of Newcastle, right?
Chilling. So what culinary, what should I be eating when I go up to Newcastle now? Dave has sent me in the right direction. I've been fed peas pud with ham on crackers. And I like it. I like peas.
Crackers?
On crackers, yeah, we had it on crackers. And a bit of bread as well or whatever. So but I like peas pud. I was
if you like your peas pudding, get yourself ham and peas pudding stotty from Greg's.
Stotty?
A stotty.
Stotty.
It's like, I think it's close to like, I forget what they call them. It's a large round loaf, I suppose you'd call it.
Oh, but like a bap, is it? Something like
you treat it like a bread bun, yeah. It's like the big ones. They're about 10 inches round, 1.5 inches thick. It's quite a chewy bread, but it's also light. It's not. They're amazing.
So I have to hit up Greg's next time I'm there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Greg's do stotties elsewhere like if it's just in the northeast. I know they don't do ham and peas pudding anywhere else.
Yeah, I'd never come across it. When he told me about it, I was like, peas what? What are you about? What is it? It's peas like mushed up. It's super savoury. I'm like, well, I like peas. I'll give it a gosh.
It's split peas, and it's like, I mean, if you get it homemade, like my mum used to make it after Christmas when you had like you get a joint of ham or something for like Boxing Day and that. Then you'd have the bone left and she'd chuck it in, make the stock, then make some fresh peas pudding. When it's sitting there in the pot and it's still like piping hot, you just get some hot buttered bread and just like scoop it up. Oh, mate, it's amazing.
Sounds like the stuff of legend, alright. I have to tell you, as an order man, are you well stocked on? You're well stocked on tea bags, and what ones do you use? I want to know.
Yeah, I've got my tea bags in.
Got your Yorkshire Gold, is it?
I'll like Yorkshire Gold. I'll drink Yorkshire tea in general. Yeah, Yorkshire tea for preference.
Could you believe?
I treat myself to gold now and again.
I went to Dim's place and he didn't have any Yorkshire tea bags at all. The Irish man had to go out and buy the Yorkshire Gold. Like, I don't know what's going on. You'll have to have words with him when you get the chance.
What do you have? Do you have no tea bags at all?
No, we had all this airy, fairy shite, these weird, like, berry flavour.
Twinings.
Yeah,
Um,
Twinings. I'm like, where's your tea bags? Oh, there they are. They're not what? So yeah,
yeah.
he got some stick
It's,
over it.
you see, I kind of get away with that. I know a lot of people like them. You know, your Earl Greys and your Lady Greys and Lady Chatterley's that one. You know, them daft teas and that. I like a nice cup of normal tea. But saying that, I'm not a big fan of Tetley's.
No, I didn't like
It's
Tetley's myself. No,
no,
no.
it's the Fosters of tea. To be fair, it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
The
It's
Dutch Gold of tea or Foster's. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's
Don't get us wrong. At the end of the day, if there's nothing
if
else,
there's nothing else going.
I'll drink it. You know what I mean. But
You find a
I'll
Tetley's
make
tea
a face.
bag at the end of someone's boot or something like that. It's like, I'll go on, so.
Yeah, I'll make a face all the way through it. I'll tell you now. But yeah, just normal tea. Like the wife tried to get us into them green teas.
Oh, because it's on a healthy buzz. Oh, yeah, look, just drink tea. You know what I mean? It's not going to kill you.
I couldn't get away. I couldn't get away with them at all.
The Git
Leave your
Man
tea
is.
bag in because there's no taste.
What, until it's got like the scum on top until you can dance in it? I'm like, I'm not that
There's
way
no taste.
inclined. Look,
I guess it
I
goes
don't mind.
cold before it gets flavour.
As long as you're not putting the milk in first, you're all right by me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Some people I know, Steve-o, make tea that way, and it's like, what's wrong with you? Jesus.
No, you've got to put the bag in first. Yeah, I don't know why, but I always feel like, and this is not based on science, that the milk, with it being thicker than water, blocks up the little holes in the tea bag. Now, that's more like something that I think my granny probably told us when I was little.
And it's
I've just went,
stuck.
aye.
Yeah.
I'm never going to question that.
Never quit. Yeah.
I tell you what, I'll say that out loud, and I'm 40, and people will mock us for years.
They'll be like,
But
you what? Oh no, blocks
that's,
up the
that's,
flavour,
that's
love.
just the way I feel.
Blocks up the flavour. That's all right, Granny. Yeah, no, but you don't argue with Granny. She knows best. The Gitman's asked me, do I remember his name? Do you remember what my real name is? Gitman. Well, I'm trying to remember Gitman. Not at the top of my head. No, not at the moment, Gitman. You'd have to remind me. Brack saying something absolutely... The heresy coming out of Brack. Brack, you keep that talk up and you get banned. I swear to God, you'll be banned from everything. Discord, the channel, Facebook group. He's saying the best tea is coffee. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Jesus, Brack. Them's fighting words, me. I'm telling you. Sacrilege. Absolutely.
I mean, I didn't mind coffee.
Yeah, but it's not as good. It's just not the same.
But if I'm out somewhere and I get a drink, I'll always get a coffee. Because I just think I get ripped if I get a cup of tea. I don't know why. I just think like if I'm getting a,
I've never gotten a decent cup of tea. I've never gotten a decent cup of tea when you go out. Do you know what I mean? It's never the same.
Make it yourself.
Yeah, it's never the same as at home. Like you'll get a pot of tea somewhere and it's like pish water. Like, you know what I mean? It'll be shocking. Or they'll give you like UHT milk or something. You're like, oh Jesus.
Oh yeah, no, that's yeah, I can't be dealing with that either.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? You can tell I've been traumatized in the past, can't you? It's like, no. Can't be having that at all, me. Not at all.
Yeah, UHT shite.
No.
I kind of hear UHT without thinking of the episode of Father Ted where Dougal is a milkman for a bit, and the milkman's leaning into the van and he's telling him, you know, about how to drive the wagon and everything, the cart, and he goes, well, anyway, you better be going now because milk doesn't last forever. Except UHT, but nobody cares about that. It's shite.
Yeah.
And honestly, God, when I first saw that, it nearly killed it. I was buckled for ages, and I still think of it now, all those years later.
Oh, Father Ted. Good education there, man. Telling you. And it was super popular over here at the time. I remember that when I was a kid when it came out, and literally like the streets were empty when Father Ted was coming on. Like there'd be no kids. You wouldn't be able to find kids anywhere. They'd all go in to watch Father Ted. It'd be the talk of the classroom the next day. Did you see it?
Yeah. Oh, it was quality. Pat Mustard won at the Milkman.
Yeah. I'm looking for Mrs. Style. Sure, it's me. Sure, I thought you were a Marilyn Monroe. And it's like the cackle. Oh. It's
You
Jude.
see, this is another thing. TV, telly, as it's known around my way. When do I get time to watch telly?
Yeah. I don't know. It's Jude. Jude, why did you change your username, Jude? Having a laugh. Poor Jude. We kept thinking he was a bloke. Oh no, he is a bloke. We kept thinking the name Jude for some reason was a girl's name, like Judy or something. It's all right, Jude. We know better now. We know better now, bud. Won't happen again. Sorry about that. Gee, cracking work. So what plans have you got for the year? Or have you got any plans? Are you like everyone else at the moment, hobby-wise, where it's just take it as it comes because we don't really know what way, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, we did have plans. My eldest daughter is currently still due to get married in May
Oh, congratulations.
in Italy.
In Italy? Oh, very
Yeah,
nice.
so that's not looking like it's going ahead. It's due. We're still hoping. To be fair, we've still got fingers crossed and everything. But we don't know. We don't know. There's doubt flying around now. It's only a few months away, and you know the way things are.
Yeah, they're a bit shack they pair. Like I'm dubious about stuff happening in October, let alone sooner than that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
This is it.
Seeing what way it goes, but you know, fingers crossed. Hopefully everything works out that way. Is she living out that neck of the woods, or did she just decide?
No,
Italy be
she's
nice?
still up here. They just they fancy getting married overseas, and that's where they looked at. I mean, to be fair, like we're like invited guests. They're basically you took them a few quid to help out, but the two of them, they got the head screwed on, and they're basically taking care of it all themselves,
Oh,
which
fair
is amazing, to be fair, as far as I'm concerned. They've both done really well. They've both stuck in at school and that, and landed good jobs.
good to hear, man. It's great.
You know, it's all you can do. All you can hope for as a parent to see your kids surpass you. And
Yeah.
I mean, don't get us wrong. I help everywhere I can. I set the bar pretty low. If you can hold down a job in the call centre, you'll be doing all right. So
You're doing well. Yeah. This is it.
that's all I've done. But yeah, they've done smashing. The Anna fella.
Yeah, hopefully it all.
So yeah, so that was my main plan for the year.
Yeah, I haven't really got any plans at the moment because I'm just waiting to see what things go, what way things go. Obviously, we want to meet up and do the games with the rest of the war bosses, and I think we're going up to the north to do that. I think I'm not too sure. We might be, yeah, we might be.
Oh.
I don't know if that's top six. Shh. Didn't hear it from me. Blame Dread. You didn't hear that from me. Just blame Dread. All right, it's all his fault. But we might be. It just depends. You know yourself. This is the dubious thing about trying to sorting anything at this point in time is we don't know, if it's all going to get sorted. But
this is it, man. Best laid plans and all that, isn't it?
Yeah. Going pear-shaped rather quickly. But fingers crossed, everything works out for everyone.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about trying to get down to Nottingham, trying to go to Warhammer World.
You should do if you get the chance, go to Warhammer World if you've not been, and bring your lad as well. He'll have a laugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll take him down at some point, certainly. But this was suggested by one of the lads.
Oh, boys' weekend sort of thing. Maybe you're
And
better off when he's older.
Thing,
Yeah. Maybe you're better off waiting until he's older. Like I've done that a few times where we've gone with the lads to Warhammer World and we played games and we make a weekend of it, and we've literally just gotten like an Airbnb close by, or we've just gotten a few hotel rooms or whatever, yourself, and just made a weekend of it. A lads' weekend, sort of. Yeah. Yeah, that's good crack. If you get the chance to do that with the lads, yeah, definitely, I'd say so. Do it, and it's always a good laugh. Getting
that's the plan. In fact, it was on the cards before for last year, but obviously that things happened.
Things did indeed happen, sadly. I think we were due to go to Warhammer World October last year. I had tables booked for one of our big Orky games, but I haven't done that this year, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Well, hopefully by October or something, it should be should be seeing a light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, this is it. I'd like to do something with the Orc community, because like if I've organised events where I've gotten like 12 or 14 people together for an apocalypse game and managed to sort that out, I'm sure I could sort something out for a big game community wise, But it just depends what way it goes. Probably somewhere in the UK or somewhere, accessible for everyone. I'd like to do something like that, but it's just make like an Orky day or something.
Yeah, it's just a shame that there's so many active members and cool people that like all over the planet, really, isn't it?
Well, this is it. If we're to
you
start
really
doing
organise
something,
it for everybody.
no, but encourage them. I'd be happy for. I would love to see like if the community members in Australia did their own little event. The only thing I'd want them to do is take pictures and post them.
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah.
But like, yeah, show us, lads. How did it go?
Yeah, that would be good. Oh yeah, I mean, obviously everyone can do their own and what have you. But if it was all, I mean, I don't know how you get away for everyone to do it.
You could do
unless you do it like with webcams.
No, but there's been events where you could tie stuff in like that. So like my train of thought straight away would be, right, so see which ones are going to happen first, and then maybe give them a scenario to play with, or help create a scenario where it's like the first mega battle will have knock-on effects to like the second and third one. So while you're still playing independent games on different continents at different times with different people, you're still sort of part of a larger type of thing. That would be the kind of approach I'd do with it. You know what I mean? Something fun like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
I quite like what they've done. I don't think this is an answer to that particular thing, like, but there was the Las Vegas Open they've done, which is like, normally the Open will have done the Open because it was all, on lockdown and what have you. And they just had 16 people in it, and they were all part of these channels that do the bat reps. And they wrote 16, like everyone wrote a list, but then a list was passed around to different studios. So you were set to play like the quarterfinal, but you didn't know what the quarterfinal was going to be yet. So say Marines and Drakari got in, you got past those two army lists, and then you had to have the minis on hand. Like, so I think you had to be in a situation where you had fucking armies to spare, really. But it was quite good. So
you had to be able to field any of the 16 lists?
Yeah, so like the Tabletop Titans one, they were sitting there and then they would get, say, I can't remember which ones it got, to be fair, but say it was Tal versus Eldari, and then they go, right, these are lists, and then they'd go to the shelves and take down that Tau army, and, But I think those channels had that kind of sort of resource.
Yeah.
Or maybe they only got the games where they could actually field that army.
I suppose you could do that with orcs, since we're all orc players.
You do with orcs, aye.
And go from there. I'm sure you've nearly one of everything painted at this stage, isn't it?
Yeah. Except for Grots.
You didn't bother with Grots? No, mate, a unit of Grots will take you like an hour, you'll be grand.
Yeah, I've painted... I painted Nickit. Him. That's him who came with that Gorzag. Was it Gorzag?
Yeah. Gip bag, or
Yeah, I haven't painted the Orc yet, but I painted Nickit, and I painted Macari because I got a Gazgul when he came out.
You got a Gazi?
Yeah, just painted him exactly as he on the box. Wasn't looking forward to him at all, to be fair. But when I painted him, I was like, I really enjoyed that. But other than those two, the only other Grots I've painted are sort of like sticking out of hatches or stood on the side of battle wagons and, just decoration. Not painted any just standard Grot troops yet. I've got some, just haven't.
If you can get your hands on some of the older stuff as well, it's really interesting. So, like, I've still got like some of the Gorka Morker banner waivers. And I was crafty with how I painted up me Grots. I painted them up as Rebel Grots so I can use them for Gorka Morker as well. If,
right.
When me and Liam get around to playing a game of it. And yet again, another thing on the to-do list.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you know, grots, you can have a lot of fun with them, and I've seen people doing some really interesting stuff as well, like with a grot guard. So they'll run like Imperial Guard Codex, but they'll do it with
Yeah.
grots.
No, I've seen that. I can't remember who done them, but with the little sort of guard helmets on and all that, the flak. Yeah, they were amazing. Them.
And the little las guns, and then all the little conversions that go along with them. They do look
Yeah.
absolutely class.
You see, Gorka Morka had just come out when
When you left, was it?
yeah. I remember sort of like, there'd be times when I would go on holiday, and you always take that little trip into WH Smith's before you get on the plane and grab a magazine because you didn't want to read about holidays and planes or whatever else shite them airplane magazines are talking about. And I'd always look at a white dwarf before I started putting them in plastic bags and have a little sort of flick through it. And I used to see these Gorka Morka models and I'm thinking, what the hell's all this? They're all buggies and cool little orc vehicles. And they were interesting, but it was just, like I say, just after my time. And I did regret that a little bit.
Well, you know, it is what it is, mate. It seems like you sort of left as I got into it. I started getting into the hobby, I think, around 97. I'd been begging me mum for a couple of years because, like you, there was a lad from school, and I think he was bringing in books or whatever. I was like, yeah, he was talking about Space Marines all the time and whatever else. And it was before the third edition, 40k third edition rulebook came out, because I remember going into them and they were like, oh, there's going to be a new edition of 40k and all that. So I was trying to get into it around before, would have been like 96, 97. I would have been about 8 or 9. I was, trying to get into it. So by the sounds of it, it sounds like you left in and around that time, did you?
Yeah, must have been. Aye.
And then
I remember when I was about 21, which would have been, I would have been around 96, 97. Actually, not 21, 20, sorry. So I'm trying to think. When I was in Newcastle College, and the walk from the college to the bus stop used to take us past up Clayton Street in Newcastle, and used to take us past the GW store that was there at the time. Number 63 Clayton Street. Used to be in the back of all the little white dwarfs. And I used to pop in, and I did pick up some models which I just painted. And they were Chaos Space Marines. And I don't know why, but I just like to look at them. And I picked some of those up. Just never used them for anything. Still got them actually. Just to paint up. So that, and I finished college before I turned 21. So that would have been 1996. I'd stopped playing then, but I'd still bought a couple, and I would have stopped within 12 months from there.
you still dabbled a little bit.
So yeah, I was 20 year anyway.
And now you're back at it. You're back into the swing of things, it seems.
Yeah. You know what it is, though? It seems, I don't know if it seems cliche or a bit weird or whatever, but when I first got into it, there's been a few moments in my life, which I've thought back at the time. I've thought this is what's been missing. It's been like an instant connection with it. The times I'll say all the usual stuff first with, your wife and the bands and that, because obviously that there's truth in that as well. But when I first heard the Sex Pistols, that was one of them. I remember thinking, what the fuck is this? This is brilliant. I got taught, and that was just me, just swept away on sort of old school punk. It would have been about 1990 at the time, so well after it was about, but I was just swept away with it. And the other time was when I first sort of like started playing with minis and painting minis, and that it just seemed to click. And when I've got back into it, it's felt like I feel like I used to feel when I used to sit there just for hours just painting stuff. It's got us through lockdown, I know that much.
Yeah. That's sort of like Zen zone you go into when you're just sort of painting.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have no interest in it at all, once you get them painting a miniature, they're like, oh, actually, that's, yeah. Like, my missus is like that. She's no desire about playing the games and whatever else, but I got her painting a mini, and she's like, this is actually pretty good, this.
Yeah, it's wicked.
It's like a weird sort of therapy all to itself.
I need to work on a few things. Like, for example, I need to stop looking up and seeing it's 2:30 in the morning, and then sneakily trying to go to bed without waking the wife up. You know, oh, what time is it? Never you mind what time it is, pet. You just go back to sleep. Is that a 3? No, that's a 12, possibly. Would you believe that?
Oh,
So
love
yeah, I
it.
have to try and keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, because the time does slip away. You're just sitting down to paint a few miniatures, and next thing you know, 3, 4, 5 hours are gone. It's like, where did they go? Don't know. But at least you have something to show for it. I think that's one of the good things about the hobby is like at least you have something to show for it, and then you
Yeah.
investing in the time, you appreciate other people's stuff. Then I think because you look
Oh,
at your stuff
yeah.
and you're like, oh, this took me like 5 or 6 hours to do this, and then you look at somebody else's work and you'll be like, Jesus, they must have spent days painting it, or
Yeah.
how long have they been painting? You know what I mean? It's sort of, if you dip your toe into a hobby, I think you get a better appreciation of like the really high end stuff, you know?
Oh, definitely. And I think I don't think you could ever. Well, some people can. Somebody's got to be the best in the world, haven't they? But even if you get nowhere near the top ones, you can do stuff and be really proud of it.
Oh yeah.
And you see other people's, some quality stuff, and it just makes you want to try that little bit harder. And a lot of it is just time. I mean, when I last painted before coming back to it, I think I'm so much better. From first picking a brush back up and just getting straight in, I'm so much better than I was the last time I'd done it, with no additional practice in the middle. It's just remembering a few of the basic techniques, just washes and dry brushing and, maybe a little bit of highlighting and what have you. But I don't know if it's just age. I've got more time. I can spend time on it.
You have more patience for it, is it?
I think that's will help me a lot anyway.
You sort of mellowed out a bit, have you? That tends to happen.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I've noticed that, even with your dad or whatever else, it's the same. Like when you have, if you have kids of your own, and then your parents or grandparents, they've mellowed out by then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're a lot easier going on the grandkids. It's like, back in my day, we got the wooden spoon. You have it lightly, I tell you.
Yeah.
It's a bit of that.
Absolutely.
There's a bit of that in it, all right. How's everyone else progressing? Gitman's talking about his next vid is going to be on orc models he's painted. Nice, you've probably painted more than me. Great model, mate. My Finecast is actually really good. Marcus is saying he doesn't think that he has a Badrook model. Captain Badrook. Oh, that's really good. Got a Badrook in resin as well as Essex, like stuff in resin more than in metal. Metal is annoying to work with. Yeah, but metal miniatures always kind of feel like they're worth the money you're spending on them. When I pick up a resin mini, I'm like, just it's like if you buy anything, it's like our expectations of cheap things don't have much weight to them. Whereas if something expensive has a bit of weight to it, it's like, oh yeah.
I got the kitchen scales out when I first started getting these plastic kits, and I was sitting there, and I've got photos, right, of like, as a Gruck, the big lad with the orc war boss who comes with a set of knobs, him on the scales with an orc boy weighs 2 grams. 2 grams. And then I would get like a mech who was like up to his tits and height, and like a lead one, and stick him on, and he's like 32. And you're like, this is just no competition. It's just the weight of them, the difference.
Yeah.
It was quite surprising how light the plastic ones were.
Yeah, it does. I think there's like sort of that psychological effect of thinking that it holds more value because there's a bit more weight to it. But plastic is a hell of a lot easier to work with. Definitely.
Yeah, and to be fair, the sculpts I do love them. I think they're fantastic now. I know people are sick to death of the Orc Boys kit.
Never
or at least there's a lot of people say that we're due a new one, which fair enough. I've not got 20 years of seeing that kit though. I've got like 12 months of seeing that kit really, so I'm not quite sick of it yet. And I've found it a great kit to convert with. I've made me tank busters out of it. I've got some commandos to be made out of it.
That's the
Much as
beautiful thing of it, though.
same as everybody else has been doing for decades, really. But I'd like to say I'm not quite sick of it yet, and I don't want to lose that sort of customization, that modular aspect to it. I think it'd be a shame if we lost that.
Well, some of us have started stocking up on them for the inevitable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is it. But I find I can't buy a boys kit because, like I mentioned about the bargains before, I think I'm better off getting the start collecting kit because I'll get the board and I'll get the knobs with another great kit. I'll get a Death Dread.
Yeah.
I fucking Painboy. I know I've made me feelings clear on him before. I'm not a fan.
Not a fan. Not too much of a fan myself, to be honest with you.
But you look at him and go, how much? And he's like 15 quid or something. Oh, I'll get 20 quid now. I think I'll get 50 or 17.50 even. I'll get 15. I'll get a tenner from on eBay. No, you won't.
Oh no, because the place is awash with them probably because it's the once you have one, you don't need any more. So you could probably buy them for a quid. Games Workshop, I'd be surprised if Games Workshop actually sell the individual Pain Boys, that many of them. You know what I mean? Maybe people who don't know any better, but like the place is awash with them.
I've seen them on the shelves or on the hook. I think he is. And in fact, it was the same time I was there. Actually, I'd seen the buggies. Some of the buggies were in like the clearance bit. Notice I didn't use the word sale because there was no discount off them. They were just would like to sell these if that's okay with you, full price. I'll smash it, no bother. But I said to the fella, "What's going on with the buggies? Are they going?" Because I was thinking I might have to get a couple because I only had the two. And he said, "No, they were just the stock changes in the store. We only ever stock the top 700 lines at any one time." I was like, "Yes." He's like, "Yeah." Like, so all the stuff in the stores, like the top sellers across the entire range, like of all games, all models. It's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And then afterwards, I walked out and thought, "Yeah, that fucking Painboy on the shelves."
That can't be a top seller.
700.
Yeah. There's no way, mate.
You find him in Christmas crackers next when he's shopping.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That actually.
Oh, wait to ruin the band's Christmas.
What have you got in your stocking, Pet? Oh, another Pain Boy. Who would have thought? You must have been really good this year. Oh, you must have been good this year. What Santi brought you? Another Pain Boy. Or instead of lumps of coal.
Even with him, I think the start collecting sets just... I mean, it's a price of a box of boys and the knobs. Thereabouts if you get third party. And you're getting a Dreadnought with it. So you're getting one of the kits free anyway.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love them Dread kits, man?
Oh, the Dreads are awesome. They really are. Like, I went through me bits box. I have a bits box I started years ago, so it would have been when the Dreads Force came out. I actually have the... Do I have the White Dwarf there? Hold on. I've got like some of my old White Dwarfs from back in the day, so like from what would it be? It's like 2012 was 9 years ago, mate. It's like when the Orc Flyers Force came out, I held on to a few of the key White Dwarfs, and I was like, I'll hold on to them. And I've one here that's from the Dreads. Is it? I'm trying to remember, because I've one or two of them where it's like remembering back to when like the Commandos Force came out, and they Force came out when it was 4th edition, the City Fight. They released the Commandos, the Metal Commando set that we have. So they've been out since, when's this? 2006? Yeah, June 2006 we've had the Metal Commandos. It'll tell you, it's like more on page 60. But yeah, there was a few bits that came out. The Orc Big Mech with the Orc Big Mech with the custom force field and the Commandos, those Metal Boys, they all came out in like June 2006 at the same time. And it's just yeah, it's interesting to look back at when stuff was released, because back in the day they used to give you the prices of things. You know what I mean? So I like to hold on to the orc stuff for
Yeah.
when folk are talking about, oh, it's just inflation. The price increases, they're just inflation. I'm like, hold on a minute there now, bud. Let's put an inflation calculator in and have a look. But yeah, there's some like interesting stuff in a lot of the old White Dwarfs that you can find for orc things that you just
Yeah.
can't find anymore. Like custom rules for stompers, the rock and roller, which was like a stomper
That's
with
one. The Death Roller.
the death roller stomper. You know what I mean? I should just do an episode on YouTube where it's going through these, and I've specific ones I held on to. You know, when the orc army got re-released back and forth. When was that? 2008. Like I've a few of them, and it's just the orky ones. I chucked the rest of them. I didn't give a rat's about the rest of them. But there's one there for the dreadnoughts. The dreadnoughts came out at the same time as I think they did a few. They did like the Space Marine Venerable dreadnoughts, and we got our orc dreadnoughts and our Killer Cans. I think at about the same time. So there's been like specific waves for release. Yes, Scar, do it, says Essex. Yeah, I'll definitely have to do it, because I've ones for the Stompers, I've ones for the Dreads, I've a few bits and pieces over the years that I've held on to, just out of sort of my curiosity of it. It's always fun to see. I don't know what it is. It's like trying to catalog like the history of the orc line. Like I'm very interested in when miniatures came out, and then you can tell people like newer lads coming in. They'll be like, well, hello, how old's this kit? And I'll be like, well, June 2006, them came out. And then these lads, when you're explaining to people about like the current Def Cop that we have is from Gorkham Orc era. So it's like, what, 98, 99? Yeah. It's as old as, I would reckon it's probably the oldest miniature that they still currently sell.
They're still knocking out.
But they're still knocking out.
It could be, yeah.
You know, it'll be...
They used to have the little metal tab between the legs
that would have the year for the slotted base. Yeah.
I know with the date the sculpt was done.
Yeah, the original. Yeah.
So I've got a few of those knocking about, which have got like 88s on and 87s.
So yeah, even the old Games Day knob, it'll say like Orc Knob, and then it says like under the tab GW97, because it was the Games Day. It was the Games Day 98 knob. But yeah, see, that's gone now. You know what I mean? So it's you don't have that anymore. That was a thing that you used to use as well. It'd be like, oh, how long ago was that sculpted? The original sculpt, GW97. You know what I mean? So it is interesting. The only thing you wouldn't be able to tell is on the old dreads, because you used to have to cut the tabs off to assemble them in some of the vehicles. I love the older dreads, the older metal ones. They're class. They are.
Yeah, you see, with the old metal kits, I never had a dread, to be fair, but I had I just used to buy whatever I thought was cool as well for fantasy stuff and like minis for role players and that. But I had like a great unclean one, which was I think about the size of a pot, the paint pot. He's not compared to the new one. But if you dropped them, you were risking a broken toe, and you'd lose at least his horns, because he just used to explode.
Yeah. The weight in the miniature would.
His belly, his feet would be in different corners. His fucking head's off. His horns are off. His arms were about 2 inches long, and there was about 4 mil of contact to the rest of it. And I wasn't pinning anything at 14-year-old. You know what I mean? More arrow dates.
Yeah. Just super glue, green stuff. 2-part epoxy, just prayers and wishes will keep it together. You know what I mean?
This is it.
And then
the Balrog from Lord of the Rings. He was a canny size, and he was stood on a long sort of like thin lead base, which looked like rocks and stuff. And yeah, he never stayed together. Never saw them together for more than 5 minutes, to be fair.
I used to have that problem with the old metal gyrocopters for the dwarfs. The blades were forever just like falling apart on them. They just would not stick. And then the parts were so thin. It's like, how the hell am I going to get a pin in this? But it's like you were saying, when you're a kid, you didn't care about pinning. Nah. The join between the arm and the body eventually over time would just be mostly super glue from being glued again and again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Too lazy to clear it off even. Just, there you go, that'll do. It'll break again eventually.
And the amount of minis I repainted, never stripped any. I just never stripped him. Oh, that's interesting. Why is he wearing a mask? He's not wearing a mask. He's got a very doughy face.
Oh.
It's a condition. Leave him alone.
He's been through the ringer, mate. Leave him alone. You know what I mean? He's seen a lot. You know, he'll get the
When I stripped
1,000
some
yards
of
there.
those, when I stripped some of those old Rogue Trader type, like orcs, the old mech with a big spanner and all this sort of stuff, I was seeing detail I don't think I've ever seen before. I was getting through the amateurish paint jobs I'd done and finding blue overalls. Who's put blue overalls on them and getting rid of that and then going, fuck me, there's a zip there. That's a seeing things I've never even. The detail on them is not bad actually. Pretty good.
What? Once you dig through the layers
Once
of
you
paint to
dig
find
through all
it underneath.
the layers
Yeah.
of history, I feel like I need like Tony Robinson with us, fucking time to like. And if you hit one in enamel, which there was a couple,
Oof.
you're getting anywhere with that. You'd need one of them, what were they called? Vibrating seismic
Ultrasonic cleaners.
ultrasonic cleaners. That was it.
Oh yeah, man. And I reckon, if you were to coat your house in enamel paint, it'll be like nuclear proof. The stuff's nigh on indestructible. It really is. But I used to love when I first got into orcs. Some of my mates were Space Marine players, and they had vehicles they didn't give a rat's about. So it'd be like a Razorback or a Predator that had like the turret missing and one of the side sponsons, and there was a dozer blade on it at one point and it's ripped off, and they'd be knackered. So they'd be like, oh, there you go, you can use them for your orcs, build a looted wagon. So you'd go to do it, you'd go to strip it down, and it would literally be like a Space Marine vehicle that had been passed on maybe 5 or 6 times or something.
Yeah.
So you'd be going through what you were just describing there. It's like, well, this is his custom chapter, and this used to be a Blood Angels and then Dark Angels, and it was Ultramarines at one point. You'd be digging through like
Sitting there with a little brush. Oh,
yeah.
little bit more thinner. Oh.
How deep does this go? Like
Rainbow Warriors, interesting.
Yeah, you never know, man. Karen Commissar's popped in. What's the crack, bud? Take it easy, Jude. Jude's headed off. Essex Boys said he had the same with his first ever metal mini, the Metal Demon Prince, in regards to being knocked over and exploding. I'd take it.
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Oh man.
All
And
that wasted arrow date.
And the bits going missing on the missing list. You know what I mean? And you'd probably never find them.
Yeah.
Like, where's that left horn gone? Don't know. All right, well then that's been cut out, so we'll paint that so it's like being torn off and there's gore coming out.
Yeah.
Or you try to do a green stuff alternative, yourself.
Yeah, my green stuff skill. Well, I haven't got any green stuff skills. I use it for bodging. That's its main use for me.
I've dabbled, but I've never put enough effort in to get anywhere with it. Do you know what I mean? It's always been one of those sort of I can muck about with it, but I've not focused on it.
I think that the best thing I've managed to do with it was a hat and beard on a big mech to make that Leonardo Octopinchi. See, I love a pun. And that came out really well. And then I've tried to make sandbags the other day. Sandbags, you know what I mean? Make a square, squash it, sandbag. They don't look like sandbags. But you know what they do. They look like hats. They look like Leonardo Octopinchi's hat.
I think that's the only decent thing I've sculpted has been like berets on orcs. I did it for the kill team because they have they had youths, and then you had orc boys. So I was trying to differentiate between the two of them because it was just orc boy sculpts.
Right.
So I used berets as being like, once you've proven yourself, you get a beret. Because they were axes.
That's cool.
So they turned out all right. I still think they're not painted, but they didn't turn out too bad. Like I said, on the to-do list, another kill team. Does anyone play kill team anymore? Apparently people do. I don't know. I haven't seen kill team played in a long time. Mind you, I haven't seen much of anything played in a long time.
I don't know much about it. I've watched a couple of games online, and I know less about it now. It was quite different to what I was expecting. There was different types of dice, and it just confused me.
Oh yeah, it's like they all have multi-wounds and all this type of thing. You don't just have one wound. It's like you're rolling to see When you
Yeah,
own
it's
something,
lovely.
you're trying to see if you take it out of action, and if you don't, then it takes like a round, and then after so many of them, then it's taken out of action. It's sort of
Yeah.
it's good crack. It is. I've enjoyed it. I played it a couple of times.
I did like the idea of having like a proper little squad of crack troops. You know, put some real effort into a few. You know, modelling wise, put some real effort into a few minis, like a really special shooter boy or looter or commando and what have you.
Well, this is it. That's the opportunity. I'd be more inclined to do that myself, as you're saying, for a small crack commando squad or whatever, than I would be to be converting, 90 odd boys. I wouldn't have the patience for that. I know Dread's a mad scown and he's like, he needs everything in his army converted, and fair play to him.
Yeah,
I don't have the patience for that. I really don't. I like a good conversion. I don't mind mucking around, but not a whole army.
yeah. I've done. I mean, even on those boys, I'd say half of them are just straight up as they're meant to. I say as they're meant to be, as they are out the box, so to speak. And the other half, I've put a bit more effort in, took parts from different kits, and worked on the poses more, like cutting wrists and turning them and slicing bits of the top there shoulder off to reposition to get the arm opened out more and what have you.
Get a bit more of a pose.
Yeah, just to get a bit more variety, but there's still a fair few, just hunched up, gun across the chest.
This is it. They don't last long on the table, so it's not like you're going to be staring at them for very long, half of them, That's the way I look at it. But
This is it.
there's an interesting thing, like when you've gotten a few kits under your belt with the orcs, you'll find that the boys kit is very modular, so you can take arms and stick bombs from the Stone Boys kit and put them onto your boys, or you could use various bits and pieces. You can save bits off of one kit, and use them to build up others. Like so you'll save up all your rocket launchers for your boys that if you didn't put them in your units, and you'll use them with another boys kit and make some tank busters. Instead of buying the tank busters. When that option, when we don't have that anymore in the army, it's gonna be a bit of a sad time indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't that bothered about the monopause. The idea of monopause. It didn't really, I wasn't that threatened. Not threatened, maybe isn't the right word, but I wasn't put off by it because some of the models are even monopause ones are fantastic, but I got Blood Bowl, and I had to put together the teams there who are entirely monopause. And the only monopause kits I'd really put together were like Space Marine ones, which I mean they all look the bloody same anyway, so it's no real biggie. But putting together the Blood Bowl players, I found a bit of a chore as well. They were dead fiddly.
They're a bit
Trying to
awkward
glue
to put together.
shit onto his neck before you put the rest of like that. Was it iRobot or I don't know. Anyway, just like a face, just with nothing behind it. And I've got hands like a packet of sausages anyway. So trying to put these on, it was just. And I thought, if this is monopause, you can fucking do one because I'm not impressed with it, and that's what's put us off the idea of monopause.
Well,
Because I think even looking at the Marine ones, you're thinking, I'm putting them together. I want him to hold his gun like that. So if I cut this and I trim that, I can still do it. I can still have it across his chest. He's holding it out, then I can use this other arm to have like a fucking hammer or whatever, and you can still work with it. But these Blood Bowl ones, I was like, there's no working with any of these, but not as easy anyway.
No, I got the same impression because I built the Orc Blood Bowl team, and I got like the box set, and I got like the Orc team because I wanted like, what did I want? 4 Black Orcs and 4 Blitzers. But they're the same sculpt, so it's like you'll have multiples of the same guy on the because it's only the one sprue.
Yeah.
So like when you buy the team individually, it's 2 of the same sprue set. So if you want the extra, like the Black Orcs and the Blitzers, if you want the maximum you can have in them in a team, you're getting 4 of the same sprue. So you're getting 4 of the same mini pretty much. And they look a hell of a lot more awkward to try and open up and muck around with. Whereas if I did it with like a unit of knobs or whatever, it wouldn't be too much hassle because it's the blank torso, and then you can, you know,
Yeah.
mix and match and go hell for leather. I think we'll miss that orc knob kit when it's gone as well. I definitely think so.
Yeah, it's another great kit. Just for the amount of extras and that you get.
Yeah, there's loads of little bits and bobs in it, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll buy it. Like the Wasbomb Blaster Jet and the truck kit. I'll put them together. I don't mind putting them together exactly as they are on the box for one,
Yeah,
but I don't want the second one exactly the same, and the
same.
third one.
Yeah,
And when I put them together, like the truck, I try to put together pretty much as it was, but I try to do it as minimal as possible, like leaving off armor plates and whatever, because I'm only putting one boarding ramp on the back as opposed to the side. I put a couple of like roll bars on to stop it, people from falling out, and then I can use all those bits on other stuff,
yeah.
like for other sort of kit bashes and scratch builds and what have you. So I'm trying to get the most out of all my kits, right? Which is why my bits box, like I say, is arms and heads, because everything else gets used.
Yeah, because you're using the bodies and the legs, but you're going about it the right way. Like the Wasbomb Blaster Jet is a really good kit for spare bits, because if you don't bother with the burner bomber, like all those rockets that are in there, you get what, like 6, 8 rockets or something like that.
Yeah.
They can all go towards like building tank busters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, or whatever else you want to build with them. You know, if you want to build a combi rocket launcher.
Oh, I've took the rockets off every out of all the knob kits. Yeah, they've all been taken. The ones from the cans. Actually, I used a few of those on the cans. To be fair, like I wasn't going to be putting rocket launchers on Death Dreads. Give those the Mega Blasters.
Of course, the Mega Blasters.
Yeah.
I've always liked a good Scorcher on a Dread. I don't know. It's always through the years, through the various editions, whether the Scorcher's gotten good, bad, worse, or indifferent. I've always liked the idea of a Dread just grabbing a hold of something, pinching it, and then just barbecuing it. You know what I mean? Holding it in its claw and just like toasting it like a marshmallow, and then laughing and showing them away. You know, I've always loved that idea when it comes to them.
That probably speaks volumes about you, mate.
Something wrong with this lad, I'm telling you. He's going to snap one day. Going to be toasting marshmallows. Essex Boys were saying those Blood Bowl minis are a real bitch. Yeah, they are. The sculpting style, you can see how the sculpting style is shifting as well with them, because they've made the heads smaller, but the bodies are still kind of the same but bulkier. So you get that sort of impression with the sculpts that they're bigger. They seem to come across as bigger because their heads have been shrunk down. I think that's part of the reason why the new Gazgul miniature, even though I haven't built mine, I've looked at it. I think that's why they shrunk Gazzy's head down as well, is to make him look bigger when they're taking pictures of him. Because we'll base the scale of the miniature off of its head. You know? Because have you ever seen have you ever seen like people have photoshopped the motorcycle riders, and they'll enlarge their heads, and because we base our scale in our mind off of heads, it looks like toddlers on bikes because they have these massive heads. But it's that, you know what I mean? But it's that sort of, it ties into the perception. We use like something we can reference, like a skull, like the human skull. Like even on this Gear Guts miniature, these skulls are supposed to be human skulls, so then we use that as a point of visual reference to how big he actually is, like.
Yeah.
And he's got loads of them, so this lad's massive. Like even if you compare
Well,
him,
he is, isn't he?
comparing to like that grot you were on about, like that's just the top of him. He's huge, like his head's pretty much the size of the grot. You know?
Yeah.
He's
a big lad,
boy.
like.
He's a big one. But it's interesting when once you have something that you can sort of anchor the scale down in your mind's eye, you'll pick it out then. You know? Whereas if I took a picture of me building here and it was side on maybe, or you were seeing it from an angle, you know, you wouldn't really know, or, you know, how big it is or whatever else. But then, you know, the door would be an indicator of the scale. That'll give you an idea. You'd be like, oh, I don't know about this. And then it's like, oh, yeah. And then putting it beside something else.
Just something familiar, isn't it?
Yeah, something that you can scale it with in your mind's eye. He was saying what in the old chat? Bloodborne are a bitch. Karen Commissar saying, I know a few people who swear by Warcry to a point where they are getting a new warband together and painted in a week. That's, yeah, fair play to them. That's impressive, man. That's more than I do in several months.
Yeah.
Essex Boy is saying that the minis look great too for Warcry. Commissar saying he'll have to have a look at Mordheim. Mordheim was another interesting skirmish game. I never got into Mordheim. I thought about dabbling, but I never quite got there. Orc stuff was saying just to get the razor saw and the milli put out. Weird Boy is saying that the video game is good. Yeah. The old milli put swears by it, he does.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Sci-Fi's here. Hey! What's the crack, Sci? 4 scorches on a dread. The red mech. It can be done. It can be done.
If you're going to have a scorcher, that's the way I think you've got to do it.
4 scorches on a dread. I think that's just a portable barbecue at that stage. Like, come on. You might as well put a grill on the top of it. Like,
teleport them in. And yeah.
Teleport
just
in
light them up.
and just light them up as you go. Well, see, this is the problem we have with our scorches on the tabletop. Is aren't they only like 8 inches? We can't barbecue stuff when we drop in. Or maybe I've gotten it wrong. Or is it the burners? Can't remember off the top of my head.
I know the burners are definitely 8.
But if the scorches are 12, that's a...
They've obviously increased all the flame mass to 12, haven't they? But I don't know I don't think that's included any of the Orc stuff yet.
Well, maybe that's something we can look forward to in the new Orc Codex when it comes out.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great crack.
Are you not a bit scared, though? I'm a bit scared.
Look, mate, I was here for the 7th edition Orc Codex. The only way is up. I've seen it at its worst.
Yeah. I've never had a codex change. Like I say,
it's
never
interesting. It is interesting. I think for me, it's not too much of a problem. I think codex changes are going to be more of a problem with people who have a small collection and don't have the money to, you know, if they're playing with their mates and, you know, the meta shifts largely, you know, that's going to put those kind of people out a bit more. Me, I've always been sort of like, I've always wanted multiples of stuff in the codex so I can swap things in and out. And then that sort of gives me a bit of insurance as well when, you know, if the meta shifts or whatever, or this is terrible or that's terrible. I'm like, yeah, it's all right. You know, it's not the end of the world for me and I still have cool minis, you know. But not everyone's going to approach it that way. I only collect orcs, so I'm not spending my money on salamanders, you know. I'm not having to split the coin.
That's what I got for Valentine's Day, right? For Valentine's Day, I got an orc truck and a Land Raider.
That's ripe for looting, that is, mate, I'm telling you.
I've already been told I'm not allowed to loot it. That wasn't the wife. That was
your mate, your Space Marine mate, was it?
I was telling the lads because I knew I was getting it because obviously I ordered it. But in the white, you're not going to loot that, are you? You're not going to loot it. This is me mate. But in October, I said I bought a Bane Blade. He goes, oh, can you? What are you going to paint it like? I'm like, Death Skulls. He's like, like, yeah, man, it's getting looted. It's the first time I'd bought a model
specifically
to deliberately loot it. Everything else is old Marine, this Chaos Marine, that Predators, Rhinos, cutting bits off, and it felt weird building it. Then I even spent about 20 minutes carving a big hole in the side with jagged damage, and then stuck an armor plate over the top. I thought, what did I cut the hole for?
Well, you didn't know at that point. You know what I mean? You didn't know.
A corrugated plastic card, boom, there we go, fixed.
Do you know what you should do with your mates, like, right? You can get old knackered Land Raiders for cheap on eBay. What you should do, right, is get yourself a cheap eBay Land Raider, bodge that up, right, and then show your mates that and be like, oh, look what I've done to the Land Raider, lads. You know what I mean? Give them a bit of a wind up. You should do that, mate. That'd be class.
Yeah, mighty sure.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. If you,
we do have like these little sort of like friendly competitions. I say it's competitions. They'll probably say it's not a competition. We try and see who can get on the Warhammer TV. You know the thing they do where they do it. I've been on 5 times now, since August, and he's not been on. But I put that down to the fact that I'm doing. It's been things like Leonardo da Vinci Jackie Khan. I've done a Gorgonaut out of a rhino. Used a rhino chassis as a body with arms and legs sticking out. Basically conversions. You let your mind go a bit and just go crackers. Whereas they're doing Ultramarines. It's
Well, yeah, there's like how many people are painting Ultramarines though, and how many people are converting stuff. You know what I mean? And putting your own touch in it. Yeah.
You've got to just,
outside the box, lads.
I'm not a good painter, to be fair. I'm all right. I'll do a decent battlefield standard, but that's about it. But when you convert a bit and mix it up, use other kits, yeah, they get on. But there's been a few I've thought were quite good, but didn't. But I've used quite a few third-party pieces and stuff as well, and something like that.
Well, you never know.
Use for it.
Great primers here. If you're talking about converting and looting vehicles, he's been cracking on. If you check out his channel, quite a few of scale model kits he's been looting Orky wise, giving them the Orky treatment, and yeah, he's done some cracking work, so go check him out if you get the chance. But it's yeah, I've a couple of Land Raiders like that I bought cheap. It's like buying stuff on eBay, you really need to know what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like, so I had in my mind, I wanted to look for a Land Raider I could get cheap, but also clean easily. So there's a bit of look involved. So you want to look at something that's been glued together badly, and you want to see if it's being glued together with super glue instead of plastic glue, because the plastic glue will melt it, whereas super glue, you budge it in the freezer overnight, you take it out, and the super glue goes all brittle, and you can break it off, and you can just get the back of a blade and chip it off. So you want to find a Land Raider that a kid has glued together, probably with super glue. Yeah, this is your best bet. And then from there, you want one that has the sponsons in the wrong place as well, because nobody wants to buy them. So you know the way normally they put like both of the sponsons at the back or at the front. You want to find. Yeah, you want to find one where someone's glued one to the front and one to the back, because you know Imperial players.
Match.
Yeah, they're mismatched. This is how I was getting Land Raiders cheap. I bought a couple of them like this. So you want to get one that's sort of mismatched, and then you want to find one that has a terrible paint job, but that hasn't got like humbrol, or it hasn't been absolutely plastered in paint. And then if you find, those are your three criteria. You find them, you're onto a winner, lads. You know what I mean? You'll get. I think I paid like 10. I think I bought one Land Raider for 12 quid. That was including the postage. You know what I mean? You just try and see the value of it as an Orc player. I think Orc players have different value in vehicles than other players. You just have to see the potential in it. You know what I mean? If it doesn't have all of its tracks, that might be a little bonus as well, because you can just bodge something up yourself or cover it over with something. You can get away with stuff. Be a bit crafty with it. And then that'll detract away other Imperial players. The guys who play Space Marines aren't going to want that, because they're like, it doesn't have all the tracks, so I don't have spare tracks, I don't have the kit.
Yeah.
You have to sort of go looking for the stuff that people wouldn't easily want. Now obviously you're going to be competing with other Orc players, but there's not too many of us. You'll be grand.
That's good advice. That I like the tip about the sponsons, mind, because I always see the sponsons at the back and think, why would you put who's going to step out of the door in front of the 6-bolter blasting away just to be red mist as you walk out? But if they're mismatched, yeah, I mean,
yeah, that was one of the things I thought straight away. I was like, well, hold on, the ones that will probably get the least amount of attention are the ones that are mismatched, because that would annoy me. I was thinking to myself, if I was a Space Marine player, what would annoy me? And I'm like, mismatched sponsors will be like, I wouldn't even want to look at it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to sort of go along that, and then hope when you do eventually get it that it hasn't been painted in enamel, and that it hasn't been put together with plastic glue. But even if it's been put together with plastic glue, when you're looking at the pictures, and you'll see that there's gaps exactly where they haven't cut the sprue off flush, so they'll have those bits of the sprue, so the lid isn't the gaps, and you'll be thinking to yourself, I can get a sculpted knife in there, mate. You know what I mean? I can work my magic there. I have the patience to take that apart. You save yourself 30, 40 quid.
Do you know what it is? I pulled apart quite a few of the old sort of like early 90s, late 80s sort of vehicles. I had a little wrecking yard going on when I was first doing like some conversions and what have you. And the amount of times I was sliding could get like a craft knife blade in, and I'd see a piece which is maybe half an inch by inch and a half, which was all covered in glue. And when you pop it off, and it did just pop off, there was maybe 2 contact points
Yeah.
where they've actually it's welded, and the rest of it wasn't even touching. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was down to just put together shonky.
No. Yeah. I reckon so. There's a few of them. Like the Land
But yeah,
Raiders, I think there's like
they were
rails on the
popping
inside.
apart
Yeah.
dead easy. So it's worth giving it a shot.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah,
super freezer. That's a good tip and all.
definitely. Super glue, freezer, mismatched sponsions, armor plates that haven't been put together properly. Make yourself a list, lads, if you're going shopping on eBay. These are the things you need to look for. Stay away from the glossy paint jobs. They might be an apple. Stay away
Yeah.
from them. Good luck. You'd melt a miniature quicker than you'd get the paint off it. You know what I mean? There'd just be like the shell of paint left and the goop that was the Land
Yeah,
Raider.
yeah.
Oh.
It's tough stuff, that.
Only just bought 2 battle wagons again. Bought my old one back. Oh, the old school battle wagon. That'd be nice. Essex is saying top tips for looting. There you go. See, I let out secrets every now and then.
You'll never get a Land Raider now, you know.
Nah, never. Well, I have 2 already, mate. I won't need any more. The
Yeah.
Land Raider is. I bought Land Raiders to make kill tanks because I have the. Hold on. It literally just sits on my desk gathering dust in its black primer glory. I have the kill tank from Forge World because we used to go to Warhammer World. There's literally just like a layer of dust on it, like that's how. So I have the kill tank, but the footprint of it. Maybe I'll hold it here and you can see it better. The footprint of this kill tank is exactly the same as a Land Raider. The only difference between the miniatures is height. So if you get a Land Raider and you build up this part here, this upper part, the superstructure, that's all you have to do because the angle, like the Land Raider has the angle at the front with its tracks. So if you just follow the angle of the Land Raider and build up the superstructure, bodge a big gun in the front where the ramps are, you have a kill tank. It'll be exactly the same size as a kill tank. You know what I mean? Happy days. And then you've saved yourself a good few quid because these aren't bleeding cheap neither.
Oh, no, they're not. I've got something I intend to use as a kill tank, but it's not really very high. It's only about 3 inches tall. It's a bit short on a kill tank.
Hold on, where's my measuring tape?
I think it's I looked at basically it was a 3D print I got from somewhere called Tabletop Loot.
Yeah.
And I've since found it or something almost identical, 95% similar to it on their Forge World for like 110 quid. I think I paid 30 euros for it. And it's a big one. It's a Macaron, a Macaron or something like that. It's
one of these Space Marine tanks, is it, or something?
a Space Marine, possibly Guard. Yeah, it's some Imperial stuff. I haven't really looked into it in too much detail, but it's a big one. You know, it's very wide. It's very long. It's just not as high as a kill tank.
Well, it's about. I've only just measured it there. It's about 4.5 inches tall, nearly. You know.
Yeah, this is probably an inch and a half too short, to be fair.
But
I'm
just,
hoping.
build
I'm
some
only going to be
superstructure.
playing friendly games with mates and that, like so.
Then you're laughing.
It was I do get a few let's call them late night purchases. You know, regretful ones in some cases.
Essex says his kill tank is made from an old inkjet printer. I love it.
Yeah, it's wicked, that one as well. I've seen that one.
There are some absolutely cracker ones. Tommy Grim Builder, what's the crack? Tommy is saying stick a rhino on top, painted a contrasting colour. Damn straight. Just have it chained down, bolted and welded, and then chained down to the top of it, and then stick a big zog and gun on coming out. Oh man, you'd have so much fun with it. You really would.
I've got a spare. Have I got 2 spare? No, I've got a spare in old school rhino. Which I haven't chopped up yet.
Well, you never
So
know.
I might see if I can pick up another Land Raider, because that one I think is going to be painted. That one probably will be green.
I know heresy players go mad looking for them old rhinos, so you might get a few quid for it if you were, you know what I mean? And then, or maybe see if you can get a swap shop going. You know, swap that out for 2 newer ones, and then you'll have 2 rhinos. You have to think this way, you know what I mean? You have to be a crafty orc.
Oh, nah. I play Death Skulls and now.
Mate, you should be teaching me these tricks, you know what I mean? Weird boy got himself a battle wagon for 30 quid. Nice. Very nice.
I did get myself some Death Copters recently.
Plastic ones?
Yep. The Black Reach ones.
I hear they're not as cheap as they used to be.
Probably not. I think I paid altogether. I got 6, and I think I paid about 30 quid for them, which I think's pretty good.
Not bad.
Looking at what prices were about, anyway, I'm sure other people are going, whoa, I got 20 for. Oh, 20.
You got 20 of them?
No, I only got 6. But I'm
I was
just
like,
saying,
20 for 30 quid? I was like, Jesus, here got yourself a bleeding bargain there, bud.
Not a shot. I was with two different sets, and only one of them was heavily painted. But I've had to sit and try and prise all the arms off, and I've been sitting there with a really fine saw trying to just cut the joints so I can actually get at them to paint them.
Be awkward as hell, alright. Definitely.
Bit of a pain, but you know.
I found the White Dwarf that had the dreads and the cans that came out in it, but maybe I'll just... What was it? Battle Missions. 2010. That's when the Dreadnought came out. And they painted all the parts individually. But we'll do that. Yeah, I'll go through my old White Dwarfs. My Orky ones. And I'll show you, and you can admire the price of them as well back in the day. Some old miniatures in here, man. Hilarious. Good crack. What was I looking for? I was looking for something there. Can't remember. Right, folks. We've gone over the 2-hour mark. I hope you have all gotten a bit of something done. Normally we do like our Discord work in progress, but I am chatting to Sydney on Discord, so he's stuck looking at his mug, I'm afraid, this time around. We'll sort it out for the next one. Have you managed to get much you're done yourself, Sydney?
Yeah, I got me. Your tanks are all base metalish. I still need to do a bit more rust on them. And I've been working on me entry into the cybernetic one.
Is that a telescopic arm?
Yes.
That is
Once
class.
Once bitten, twice shy with a custom Mega Blaster.
Oh yeah, in case it overheats. I like it.
Yeah. That's I tell you like a pun. This is Professor Thieving Orkin. Another Death Skull.
That's class though. That is class. That's hilarious. Like, I love that. Not only does he have a telescopic arm, but the reason why he has it is because his last one blew up.
Yeah, he's getting on. I've replaced his leg as well. I don't know if you can really see that. Made him a little telescopic leg.
Yeah.
Probably not really coming across very well. And he's got the face and all that, you know. So yeah.
Nice. It's looking class, man. It's looking class.
So just one more thing to put on the to-do list. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, look, you're cracking on with them. You're getting the projects done. I managed to get a bit of black lining done on this gear guts. I've blacked in a few more bits and pieces. I did a little bit of metal here, there, and everywhere. But I've always found on streams that I don't get if I get stuck into detail work too much, I end up stop talking altogether. So I just do rough stuff. Managed to clean up the new prints as well. I'll start painting them up soon enough. 2 more buildings for the city terrain. They'd actually work with epic scale as well, now that I think about it. Where's my epic scale vehicle gone? Something over here somewhere. I never thought of that. Yeah, they're about epic scale anyway. 6 mil. Happy days. So yeah, got a bit of work done. Had a bit of banter, had a bit of crack. Like we said before, Sydney's running his channel, The Drunken Ork. There is a link in the description of the video below. I suggest you go check it out. Subscribe. Check out his orky content. I'm sure you'll have some salamanders on there eventually, will you? Yeah, it's like, well, Jesus, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it's been class. Cheers for coming on. It's been a good laugh, and cheers to everyone who's watched the video and painted along with us. We hope you've all had a bit of fun. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, hit the like button, and don't forget to drill your barrel. So
take care now.
That's it from Scara. We'll see you in the next one, lads. Boom. Yeah, it was